Howdy, friends and floorheads. Welcome to the premiere of Fear Itself. Fear Itself is an RPG by Robin D. Laws and Gareth Ryder Hanrahan. It's put out by Pelgrane Press. You can go to the Pelgrane Press website, and of course, you can buy the hard copy as well as the PDF. It describes itself as a game of horror that plunges ordinary people into a disturbing world of madness and violence, and it's powered by the Gumshoe Investigative Roleplay System. We'll obviously go through some of the mechanics as we go, but I'd like to quickly welcome the cast, and then I think we should just jump right in. So, hi, cast.
Howdy.
Hi.
We will get a chance to meet everybody as well as their characters, but let's go ahead and set the scene. It's November 1991 in Allentown, Pennsylvania. It's 6 o'clock in the evening. The sun is setting. The air is crisp and it smells like the first snow could come maybe tonight. Like many cities in the Northeast, the 90s brought industrial flight. The change crushed the blue-collar economy and Allentown fell on hard times. Our camera fades in from black, high above the gray, colorless streets of downtown. The camera drops and runs along the downtown streets. We see a few banners announcing closing sales. We see even more empty storefronts. Sorry. The sidewalks are mostly vacant. Trash bags sit on the streets ready for tomorrow's pickup. We come into a storefront that was once a department store before the money moved to the suburbs. Patches of thick brown paper held on by yellowing masking tape cover the display window. The faded shadows of a missing Woolworths sign tops the blocked out windows. It was a family-owned department store, one of the last shops to close downtown. A makeshift banner displays the temporary occupant of Veteran Lodge 298. On the door is a handwritten sign with suicide prevention hotlines listed and how you can buy tickets for the upcoming charity fish fry. Inside, the floor is covered in frayed, high-traffic carpet that keeps a faint mold smell. The large room is dim and awkwardly lit. Undeployed regiments of folded chairs lean against the far wall. We see a round, middle-aged woman in a wrinkled lab coat. She's setting up old catering coffee makers on top of a stained folding table, and on it is a sign that says, "Welcome, Blue Gold Research Study participants." On the table, we see chipped clipboards with chained pens. And by the woman's feet are boxes filled with manila folders and paperwork. We also see a medical bag by her feet with a stethoscope peeking out of the top. A tiny bell above the door chimes as the front door opens and a man enters. Artur, you're early. Can you describe Artur for everybody?
Yeah, Artur is it's older gentleman, scraggly hair, and he's in an ill-fitting sports coat, probably secondhand, and he's quickly hustling in. He may be early, but he thinks he's late.
So the woman turns, and she recognizes you, of course. And you know her as Nurse Sarah. Artur, you're early.
Oh, Nurse Sarah, I'm so sorry. I'm early? Oh, very good.
Could you help, please? The chairs. Can you get the chairs in the circle?
Yes, absolutely. And he meticulously places down his notebook and kind of pats it down and tries as he might to place the chairs in a circle, although they may be a little bit askew. He's too focused on details right now.
So, Nurse Sarah, as soon as she gets the coffee going and made, she appreciates and acknowledges Artur as he, is setting up the chairs. We hear the bell ring again, and in walks two other people. We've got our friends Lucy and Randall walk in, and Randall's holding a stack of styrofoam cups. Randall, can you describe what you look like?
Yeah, Randall's early 30s, a little bit of facial hair, and time has not been great to him, so he's seen some rough times. He probably looks older than he truly is. He's currently wearing like a green ex-military surplus jacket and some cargo pants, and walking in with Lucy. Is that right?
Yep. And Lucy, what do you look like?
Lucy has dark curly hair that ends about at her shoulders, just before it touches her shoulders, actually. She would be wearing a really thick jean jacket, because, fashion over form, even though it's cold outside. and you can see her dark wash jeans with her all white sneakers as she's walking next to Randall.
So Nurse Sarah obviously acknowledges when you walk in. She goes, "Oh, you had cups at the bar. Thank you so much. You can just bring them right over here." You gonna bring her the cups?
Oh, yes. I'm sorry. Yes. I politely bring over the cups, stack them down, and as I'm walking, I notice the chairs are not exactly symmetrical with each other. Being ex-military, I notice these fine little details. I go over there and I help Archer out and get those chairs in a perfect circle.
So we see the three of them helping Nurse Sarah kind of set up this little impromptu meeting. And this meeting happens roughly once a month. And it's been happening for the past 2 years. You see, each of our players are in a study put out by Blue Gold Research. And it's a study for a drug. And this drug is supposed to help with cognitive abilities as well as memory. And it's been going on for 2 years. Each of our players has a different reason for participating in the study, but in the time that they've been doing this, they've kind of built a bit of a friendship. So now as we watch, we can see other people walk in. You see an older man, a younger woman, and people just start filing in. We've now got about 15 people, and everybody kind of knows where to go. They go to the different chairs and different seats. Lucy and Randall and Archer always sit in the back right corner. They've got 5 chairs set up, one for Randall, one for Lucy, one for Archer. No sign of Lisa. And then, of course, no sign of Austin yet, their good friend Austin. Nurse Sarah brings over the huge box with a stack of clipboards on it. She starts handing out the clipboards, and you guys have done this a million times. It's a questionnaire, and it asks you just standard stuff about what has happened over the last month. Questions about your health, questions about your life, thoughts that you've had. Do you have suicidal thoughts? Have you noticed any effects, either side effects or benefits from the drug? So each of you start filling them out. And as that's happening, you see Lucy pull out her blood pressure wrap, and she starts putting it on people's arms and testing their blood pressure. Well, it's now 6:30, and the meeting starts at 6:30. And at about 6:35, we hear the ding of the bell, and the door flies open, and in storms Lisa. Can you describe Lisa for us? You're right now, I have you muted.
Sorry.
That's all right.
Lisa is late mid-30s, kind of chin length brunette hair, wearing a pantsuit, probably looking kind of frazzled.
So Nurse Sarah shoots you the look that she shoots every time you're late and every time you're unable to get here on time.
I just shoot her a look back.
And I'm imagining then you file over to go sit with your 3 other friends.
Yes.
As Nursera is going through and checking everybody's blood pressure, she's also starts to collect the clipboards. Lisa, she goes and puts it on your arm and tests your blood pressure, not making small talk with you.
That's fine.
She looks at it, writes something down on a clipboard. You can hear the Velcro tear off. She goes to Arthur, puts it on your arm, puts the blood pressure going. She goes, oh, a little bit better than last month, Arthur.
I've been eating more spinach.
That's good. That's good. I'm glad to hear that. I'm glad.
It's good for the body.
Yeah, it is. It is. You can hear the Velcro. She tears it off. She puts it on Randall. She pumps it. Randall, your blood pressure's high. Are you feeling okay?
Well, yeah, I don't feel any different than I have in the past couple of days. I mean,
it's nothing alarming. It's just, usually usually you're within the safety zone. It's just it's a little high. Now, what's interesting, Nick, is you felt good walking in. You felt well and everything, and you've sat down. You've had some nice small talk and conversations. And when she says that to you, is I think the first time you kind of notice kind of this low grade, like headache. Nothing strange. You have headaches before, but you didn't notice it until she mentioned it to you. Takes the Velcro off, puts it on Lucy. Pump, pump, pump. Lucy, did you and Randall run from the bar back here? Because your blood pressure is higher than normal too.
No, we walk like normal. In fact, my body made me shivering because I'm cold.
Okay. And you're feeling okay.
She thinks for a second. Yeah.
You also notice a low grade headache. Nothing crazy, but it's just, again, one of those things just like, man, you know what? Now that she asked me, I can kind of like in the back of my head a little bit. It feels gray. So she tears this off and she collects your clipboards and everything. And she's kind of looking through it, kind of looking at the answers, excuse me, that you had. She goes, Lucy, I think that all your answers are off by one. So she hands the clipboard back to you, Lucy, and you look and you realize, like, it says first name and you left it blank. Then it says last name and you put Lucy. And then it says age and you put Jones. And you had shifted everyone down a spot.
I didn't realize that. I can fix it.
I'll go get you a new sheet. And she runs over to her cardboard file boxes, pulls out a new questionnaire for you and gives it to you. Arthur, when you were filling out your sheet, anything of note that you put on the sheet? Anything that's happened over the last month?
He's unsure whether he's a placebo. His skepticism and prior experience makes him think that, but he's feeling better. At least he thinks he's feeling better.
Right. How about Lisa? Anything of significance that you put on your questionnaire?
Not particularly. She hasn't really been feeling any effects.
How about Randall?
no. I'm going to keep to myself the kind of the headache that I noticed right away, but no, nothing at all.
Now, Lucy, when you filled this out the first time, you kind of messed it up a little bit. Obviously, I think you're probably spending a little bit more time to make sure you get it right this time. That's never happened before. That's a little odd. I would be curious, though, because when you filled it out the first time, you did not mention anything about side effects or headaches or anything. Are you going to mention it now?
She only would not mention it now because she had a late night at work. So maybe that headache is a direct cause of it. So she's like, okay, I'll get some sleep and next month I'll see if it's still there.
So she takes back your filled out sheet, Lucy. She looks at it and it's filled out, correctly. You answered the questions in order in the correct way. And she's going around and she's having conversations and she's talking. It is now pushing 7 o'clock. So we're well 30 minutes into this meeting. These meetings very rarely extend past an hour. Arter, when you came in and you were first, you were surprised because as punctual as you always are, you've never been first. You've always been second. And it was always Austin that was here first. And now we're pushing 7 o'clock and there is no sign of him.
Yeah, I think Arthur would flag down Nurse Sarah if he can and say, Nurse Sarah, our friend Austin, what do you know where he is? He was not here when I got here.
I figured that you would know. It is odd. Usually he's the one that sets up the chairs. He usually has them all set up long before you get here. I figured, if anybody would know, it would be the 4 of you. No, I've not heard anything. And, I guess one time in 2 years, he's allowed to be a little bit late. But no, I haven't heard anything.
Oh, he must be working on that new bear sculpture that he told me about. And Arthur's going to look at the group and say, anyone else hear from him?
I always see
No.
him here first.
Nothing here. I haven't seen him in a little bit.
As you guys are just kind of discussing this, all of you notice like the room temperature drops a little bit, maybe by about 2 degrees. You all notice it. It's not enough to make you uncomfortable, but enough that you notice. And it just got a little bit chillier as you were having that conversation. So Nurse Sarah, after having the discussion with Arthur, she walks over and she continues doing her business. Up walks old Miss Kingsley. Now, you guys are not really friends with Margaret Kingsley, but you have dealt with her before. She's an older woman, you guess in her mid-60s. She, in conversations, has said that she's been a nurse, and she's kind of a unfriendly person, is probably a generous and nice way to put it. But she walks over, and she actually goes to you, Lucy, and she says, Miss Jones. Miss Jones, do you know if Austin's coming tonight?
I am not sure, but since we only have 30 minutes left in the meeting, I'm assuming he might not make it.
Okay. Now, Lucy, I think of everybody, you have the highest notice. Let me just double check that. Yeah, you've got a notice of 3. The next highest one is Lisa. So we're going to have you notice this, Lucy. As she's having that conversation, she kind of puts her hand out to kind of do the old lady pat on your hand, kind of half handshake move. You notice bruising on her right arm, and not like bumped into something bruising, like deep, dark bruises on her arm. And you immediately look to her left hand and you look at her arm under the jacket and you see the bruising. And as soon as she sees you seeing that, she pulls her hands away and she kind of very self-consciously kind of pulls her sleeves up to kind of cover that bruising.
Oh, when she does it, I'm going to say like in a lower whisper, so not many other people can hear us besides us, and say, "Are you okay, Miss Kingsley?"
Yes. So 2 nights ago, I was mugged. I was coming home from the grocery. She starts getting a little upset, and a man came out of nowhere, and you know how Allentown's been, and he wanted my purse, and I dropped my groceries, and thinking that I potentially, could get away, I started to run, and I was just down the way from Austin's museum. So I ran there, and he got on top of me. He took my purse, he took everything, and pushed me down. And within minutes, luckily, Austin came out, and he helped me up, and I just wanted to thank him. That's the only reason I was asking. But no, Miss Jones, I'm fine.
Okay.
I spent the night at the hospital, and he didn't take anything of too valuable, and I had my pills in there, of course, but we're only 2 days away from getting our refills tonight, so I wasn't too worried about that. But I appreciate you asking.
Of course. I'm sorry to hear that, Miss Kingsley, and I'll let Austin know that you want to thank him for.
Please.
Okay.
So she walks away, and as the circle, and as Sarah kind of finishes all of her work, and she sits kind of in the center of this half circle that you've created very meticulously, of course, because Randall went in and fixed up Arthur's work, which Randall never had to do that when Austin's the one that set out the chairs. I think that's significant and important for what we're dealing with here. So Nurse Sarah does her standard thing where she, discusses, hey, how's everybody feeling? Is anybody had any side effects? And it's really kind of the same people. There's Jennifer Parker. She's a younger woman. You're not really clear what Jennifer Parker does. She's late 20s, early 30s. She's bone thin. If you were to find out that she was an addict of some sort, it wouldn't surprise you just by her gaunt face and her just frailty. She's complains that this has been a waste of her time, that the drug has done nothing. And Nurse Sarah kind of does her standard, well, you never know, that's why we do this, you're doing a great service, and so on and so forth. She finishes up giving each of you your doses for the next month. This is the second to last meeting, so you've only got one more meeting after this. Thanks everybody. And then everybody gets their check. So she pulls that out from her little blue bag. She unzips it. She gives everybody a check on there. And she pulls out Austin's and looks at it and kind of puts it back in and zips it. And she thanks everybody.
Hey, guys. No one has talked to Austin?
Last I knew, he was building a sculpture of a bear out of bones he got from Russia.
Okay.
Maybe he's doing that. Arthur
I'm
seems
not-
completely oblivious to any sort of danger that Austin may be in.
I might stop by his place tonight.
I'll go with you.
Okay, just to check in, because he's never been this late before. Or, sorry, missed the meeting.
Yeah.
I think
Randall
that would be
hasn't seen him in quite some time, so I think Randall's going to go with Lucy and Lisa to check on him, and not to mention it's later in the evening. The town is rough already, so travel in packs is probably best.
Yeah.
Now, Randall, the only thing, and I'm not saying this is what you need to do, but I do want you to know, because of the work that you did for Austin, you obviously, all of you know where Austin's museum is. And for those that are watching, Austin, he's a retired insurance salesman who has a passion for taxidermy. And he's quite good at it. And what he has done is basically he gutted his entire first floor of his house and turned it into what he calls a natural history museum. What the four of you all know it is just a place for him to show his taxidermy. And probably the one thing that's significant, the person who spent the most time there is Randall, because Randall, I think it was about 6 or 8 months ago that he hired you to help him build this showcase, display case for the bear that Archer has been talking about. He got these bones that he then built and pieced all together of this huge grizzly bear, and you helped him build a kind of a showcase in the center. That's now his, the main feature of this museum of his. And, there's always at the front of the museum, there's an open and a closed sign. There's never hours. You never know. And sometimes he charges $0.25 to come in. Sometimes he charges $10. So it's pretty clear why he's been doing this. The reason I bring that up, Randall, is you do have his phone number, and it would be a car ride to get to Austin's place.
Gotcha. Knowing what I know now, I recommend to the group, or I look at Nurse Sarah, and ask Nurse Sarah, can I use the phone here? Is it possible to make a call?
Yeah, Randall, you know where it is. Yeah, go ahead.
All right, Lucy, I'm gonna go try to call and see if he's at home. So I step away. They can follow if they'd like, and we'll make that call.
So it's 1991. Not all of them are rotary dials anymore. We now have touch dials, except for the old Woolworth store, which is now the Veteran Lodge. It has a
How vintage.
Yeah.
So you got the receiver up, and it's busy. So Randall, you hang up, you dial it again just to make sure you got it right. And immediately a busy signal.
I don't like the sound of that. Him not showing is out of character without letting someone know. I'm going to suggest to the group we should go check on him, see if everything's okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
How are we getting there, kids? It's about 4 miles away. It's just outside of downtown.
Who's got a sweet station wagon in this group?
Right. Sorry, my Fiero is only a 2-seater. So.
We're riding together, riding separately.
If we've got a 4-door, let's drive together if possible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So who's driving?
Not me.
I could drive if need be.
I can also drive.
Yeah.
All right.
Archer will trust Lucy or Lisa over himself.
Okay.
Lisa said, I trust Lisa to drive.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, I am older than you. A little bit more experience.
So, Lucy, what do you drive?
What do I drive? Oh boy. Yeah, let's say 4-door station wagon. It's fairly old. It's got that fancy wood trim.
I was gonna say the wood trim.
The wood trim.
Oh yeah.
All right. So Lucy gets in on the driver's side, does the unlock, and remember, these are the locks that go clunk when they go up, right? Who's got shotgun?
Lucy would call shotgun and like kind of jog up. I should mention Lucy's also young in her early 20s.
Yeah,
And Lucy keeps messing with Randall. Every time I go to pull open the door, she locks it. And it's like it stops. It's like knock, knock, knock. Boop, boop, pop.
Lisa's too busy cranking her window down.
All right. First turn of the key, it doesn't start, but it starts on the second turn, Lisa, and you guys head over. So we're going to go ahead and do a smash cut to you pulling up to, like I said, not in the suburbs, but just on the outskirts, outside of the commercial area of Allentown, Pennsylvania. You pull up to Austin's home. We're now well into evening. His front lights are not on. Everybody else on the streets are. It's an older home. Though it's obvious that Austin did okay for himself because he's kept it up. And when you compare it to the other homes on his street, he's definitely put the most time and love into it, both from a, keeping it, constructed well and built nice and updated, but also like his lawn and just little things that he does with the flower beds. He's got a little tomato garden on the front there. From the car, you can see his front door with his handwritten close sign that he always has on the front of it.
And you said none of the lights are on?
None of his lights are on, so his porch lights are off. Now, to give you a little bit more, he does have a driveway. The driveway goes back to one of those small one-car detached garages in the far back, and he's got a small backyard, but everything's fenced in the back. Where do you want to park, Lisa?
I'll pull up the driveway a little way, like close to the house, but not all the way to the garage.
You're there.
Lucy's going to step out whenever Lisa turns off the car and kind of goes, "Oh, it's so cold."
Randall steps out and recommends we keep the headlights on as it's getting dusk and get some light to the back of the house since no lights are on. And I think I'm going to approach the front door, see if I can't look through some of the windows, see if I can see anything, and knock.
So you get to the front door, and just as you're about to knock, Randall, you look down, and you can see that the door is not completely closed, and it appears there's some damage around where the lock on the door is. He does not have a deadbolt on the front door, but you can see some fresh wood chipped away as if the door had been damaged at some point. The door is not completely closed.
I communicate that to the group. Guys, be careful. The door seems to be slightly ajar. There's some damage here. Why not? I'd like to try to sense some trouble.
Okay.
And why not? I'd like to use a point to try to.
All right. So, as you've been watching, for those of you watching, this is a gumshoe game, which means that all of their abilities are split into two categories. There is the investigatives category, which, if you're looking at their index cards as they've been flipping by up here, those are all of the early abilities that you see there. After that, you've got the general abilities. So for investigative abilities, there's no roll needed. If they've got a rank in that ability, then they can use that ability. So in this case, Randall's going to use Sense Trouble, which the idea behind Sense Trouble is pretty simple. It is, I want to get a sense of whether there's any impending trouble. So Randall, you're going to go ahead and spend one of your points. So go ahead and drop your Sense Trouble down by one.
Okay.
And what that does is, had he spent no points, I would have given him an answer. If he'd spent every point he sends, he gets a bigger and better sense. So Randall, ex-military, you have been in some very, very tight spots, less than ideal situations. You stop and hesitate for a second. And you turn around, look down the front porch to the left, through the darkened shadows, off to the right through the darkened shadows. Hair on the back of your neck isn't standing up. You're feeling okay. Obviously, disconcerting that the chipped area and what looks like it's been broken into, the front door. But now that you've taken some time to take it in, you realize that this isn't fresh. So you look down and you don't see any of the chipped wood. Your best guess is this did not happen, tonight.
Gotcha.
For the extra point that you spent, you get an odd smell coming from the open door, the cracked open door. It's something that you have smelled before. You can't quite put your finger on it. But it's not the typical old man smell that you get whenever you were in Austin's house.
Gotcha. With that being said, I'm gonna try to open the door and kind of at a medium pitch. Austin, are you home?
So
it's your friend Randall.
You open the door, and everything is what you expected to see. So his front area, he's got an old desk that he uses as kind of his reception area where he writes down people's names in a book and takes their money. When the museum is open, he has a little steel box, money box. That's not there, but when it's closed, you wouldn't expect it to be there, right? So that's not that odd. No lights on. Super creepy. and that has nothing to do with the situation. Let's be honest.
It's
Austin's-
taxidermy.
Austin's place is creepy. And you look around and there's stuffed pigeons, stuffed squirrels, some other larger animals. There's a stuffed wolf that he keeps in the main reception. He's convinced that that's what draws people in to spend the money is when they see the stuffed wolf. But seeing, Randall, that you have spent so much time as you're standing there at the threshold, kind of looking around, nothing seems out of sorts other than obviously the door and all the lights are off.
Is there a light switch right by the door, like most front doors?
Let's
try to hit that. Try to turn on the lights.
It's one of those old push button ones, you know, that has the buttons. Yes, so you and boom, the light up above in the main area used to be the dining room chandelier, but he now has had that moved to light up the reception area. It lights up, and the whole front area looks as normal. Now, once people pay, then they go through this wall that he had built that separates his first floor to the main part of the museum, which is in the back. That door is closed. I know what Randall's doing. I'd like to know what everybody else is doing.
I'm kind of, because Lucy is always kind of creeped out going into Austin's house because it's a bunch of taxidermy. So she tries to not go in there often, but she's like kind of 5 feet behind Randall, just kind of like peeking to see what's going on. And like, hey, is he there?
Where's Lisa and Arthur?
Lisa has similarly always been creeped out by the taxidermy. So, she will actually enter, but she's gonna stick real close to Randall.
Yeah. Arthur spent many a long nights with Scotch in the taxidermy area, drinking Scotch with Austin. So he is in his comfort zone and he's sticking near Randall, but he's definitely uneasy, but not scared of the surroundings per se.
So Randall, now that you got the lights on, you step into the reception area, and like I mentioned, you've got this area with there's shelves and tables, and there's stuffed animals and lizards and snakes just everywhere. He's so proud of himself because he's hung the taxidermy birds flying, from the ceiling. Off to your right, you, of course, see the door that I mentioned that takes you to the main showcase area. And then there's the steps that take you up to the second floor. As is normal when the museum is open, he's got essentially kind of like a dog gate that blocks the steps so that people coming in wouldn't go upstairs to where Austin lives. The gate's there, which usually he only has it there when it's open.
Yell out, Austin, you here, buddy? Wait for a response for a few seconds. Nothing. Why not? I'm going to start. I know I've been here many times. I'm going to start heading my way up the stairs, continually blurting out his name.
So you press the gate open, and it kind of detaches. He's got kind of hooks that he's screwed into the wood there. You lift up the gate, you set it aside, and you go upstairs. It's dark up there too. He's got an old runner that runs up the wood steps. You get to the top of the steps, total darkness. I assume we're going to hit the light at the top of the steps to light up the hallway there. Once again, Randall's at the top of the steps now. Is Lisa, Arthur, and Lucy staying downstairs?
Lisa's gonna check and see if the lights in the main museum area are on.
So looking under the door, they're not. You want to push the door open?
Sure, yes.
Okay. So Lisa, you push the door open, and since the last time you were here, a lot is the same. He might stuff a new thing or build a new bone sculpture maybe once every few months or so. So as you look to this kind of larger area, it's about a 30 by 30 area. Along the walls are the shelves that you normally would see, the stuffed items. Some of the bigger items are there. He's got a Wolverine that's standing on a stand in the far right corner. The light coming in from the reception area gives you a nice view. You look along the left and the right. In the middle of something new. You knew it was going to be there because, Randall helped him build it. You've heard Arthur talk about how he helped get the bones for this Russian bear. But it makes you pause for a second. You see the base of it. You start to look up. And there's a lot of information to take in at once. I think the first thing that registers is the bear sculpture, this skeleton of a bear standing upright with its front arms, paws out.
I don't care for that, but okay.
Austin's in there too. And then you see the blood.
Of course.
And there's a lot of blood.
Oh, no.
So, I would like Lisa to do our first roll of the evening. So, there's a stat called stability. And the way stability works is similar to, for those of you that are used to Call of Cthulhu. Stability is a stat, and you roll a d6. And if you roll a 4, 5, or 6, no impact. If you fail to roll with a 1, 2, or 3, then you lose some of your stability. So, Vic, how much stability does Lisa have?
Lisa has 9 stability.
Okay, so she potentially could lose up to X, right? And I determine what that is based off of what she just saw. Now, what's interesting is stability is a general ability, which means she can spend some of her stability up front to boost her roll. So if Victoria wants to, she could say, Craig, I'm going to spend a point of my stability. So she's already going to lose 1, right? She's going to go from 9 to 8. But she gets to add 1 to her roll. So now if she rolls a 3, 4, 5, or 6, she loses no more stability. Victoria, what would you like to do?
I think I'll go ahead and spend the stability point.
All right, so you're going to spend 1 point. So whatever you now roll on your d6 is going to be +1.
Okay.
Let's cross our fingers.
Oh, Jesus.
So you rolled a 1 with the +1. That's a 2. So I need you to go ahead and lose 4 stability, please.
Okay.
For seeing a grisly crime scene. So where does that put us now? So that's at 4.
5 total because, yeah, it's 4 now.
Well, you spent 1, right? So it's at 4,
Yes.
right? Yep. Okay,
Yes.
got it. Yep.
Yes.
All right, so you're at 4. What's your reaction?
I'm gonna scream and back out the door.
Okay. Everybody, Arthur and Lucy, you see this. Randall, you hear this.
Randall's
I'm
about
gonna-
ready to try to get up to the top, or the door at the top of the stairs. Hears the scream and starts running downstairs towards Lisa.
Yeah, Arthur's gonna immediately start running over as well, probably shoulder by shoulder with Lucy. at this point.
Yeah, I'm running there as well, and I'm gonna yell out, Lisa, Lisa.
So you guys, you two reach Lisa. Randall's not too far behind.
Yeah, Arthur drops his notebook in his scuffle and goes, Lisa, what? And kind of pans and sees the brutal.
So Arthur, would you like to spend a point for the stability roll, sir?
Yeah, I'll do that.
Okay. So lower your stability by 1. And then we're going to add
Right.
1 to your roll.
That's space +1, right?
Yeah, or you can hit the at the very bottom. It gives a plus or minus ability next to the roll button.
Even easier. Cool.
You roll,
Oh, no.
rolled a 2, which turns into a 3. That's going to be 4 more stability loss. Where does that put your stability, Arthur?
We're looking at 5 right now.
All right.
Oh my gosh.
Lucy and Randall, you see Arthur's reaction as he steps back and away. Arthur, what is that reaction?
He at first is he sees the bear first and he's excited, and then he notices this red just dripping blood and immediately horrified and can't even look, and he's scrambling for his notebook, doesn't know where his notebook is, and he is having a horrible anxiety attack right now. It's going well, guys.
Yeah. Lucy and Randall can put this
Oh,
off
real
and
good.
never go in if you want.
Just because I was side by side with Arthur, Lucy would certainly look over and have to roll, I'm assuming.
Yeah. So how do you want to do it? Do you want to spend any points?
I do not want to spend any points. I'm just gonna roll and see what the die gives me.
Let's do it.
Brave. Of course.
Oh, wow.
So here's what's interesting, Shadika, is Lisa and Arthur both saw this. Both had, Lisa had a visible loud reaction. Arthur had a very physical reaction. Why do you think it didn't impact you?
I would say it didn't impact me because this would not be necessarily the first time she saw a scene like this growing up. Very rough neighborhood in New York. So there was a few different scenes throughout her childhood where it similarly looked like this.
Gotcha. What is your reaction though? So you didn't lose any stability, but
I turn over and I like, and a court breath, and just kind of step back and lean against the wall. And I'm gonna put my hand out whenever Randall run and says, and just shake her head, no, don't go in there.
Randall, with his background, he's going to do everything he can to try to get to the bottom of what's going on and try to help in any way he can. So he watches what you're doing and kind of holds back. So, what's going on? What's going on? Who screamed? Who screamed?
Arthur, next room, he's dead.
no, Arthur's not dead yet. It's Austin.
I hope not.
Austin.
Well, we'll see you guys.
My fault. My fault. Austin, in the next room,
Austin.
he's dead.
I bust right through. I beeline it straight to where I'm watching everybody's reaction. Where Austin is laying down,
right.
inevitably laying down,
So
I immediately go next to him.
you're at the door frame. You can now see everybody. You can see everybody in the front reception area. You can now see into the main museum area. You see the huge display case that you crafted, the glass, all of it glass. You see the bear that you helped him load up and put in there and close, and you see Austin in there as well with all the blood. Do you want to spend any points?
Yeah, I'm actually going to spend 2 because
Okay.
I know how I roll. Plus, being an ex-combat medic, I should probably have seen this before, so I'm giving myself the benefit of the doubt.
All right, so you'll be +2.
There it is. Finally.
All right, so that leaves you with an 8 stability.
Correct.
What is your reaction?
Panicked. I get into rescue mode. I try to assess the situation, see if he's alive. I check his pulse. I figure out where the blood's coming from, if it's actually his or if it's maybe somebody else's or this damn bear that's above us, and try to see if there's anything I could do to save his life, if he's alive.
So as Randall, man of action, kind of moves, instead of going away from this scene, which was a very natural reaction for the other 3 of you, Randall is going forward. Now, during that time, Lucy, you kind of tried to hold Randall back, try to save him from witnessing it. He politely, in a very kind way, pushed your hand away. You kind of leaned up against the staircase at that point, knowing what he was about to see. You see Randall moving forward, and as that happens, your sight starts to narrow. That headache becomes noticeable again. And honestly, you forgot about it. And it's there, and did it go away and then come back, or was it just always there and you haven't thought about it? Your vision narrows some more. And Lucy, you black out. Lisa and Arthur, you see this happening. You see Lucy leaning up against that. And what you see happen is you see Lucy, her head drops like this. And she starts slipping.
Oh, man.
Gonna try to catch her?
Yeah, I was going to say Arthur's going to try and jump in. And
Two of you have no trouble doing that. The two of you immediately get there. You're able to put your hands there to kind of help her go there. She's immediately, you can see her kind of, shaking her head and blinking. Let's cut to Randall real quick. Randall, you run in there, and here's the kind of the initial ex-soldier assessment. The blood is not new, so it's not fresh blood. There isn't bleeding happening, but there is a considerable amount of blood. You look down at the bottom of this display case, and there's so much blood that it's not all congealed at this point. There's almost like a pool of blood there. And as you kind of assess and look at it, you see that the majority, if not all of it, has come from a chest wound. And you can see 4 of the bear's claw fingers reach through it. And that's when you realize that he's been either was impaled or has been impaled or fell on the front claw of this bear. As best as you can tell with your ranking a medic, that's what killed him. So that's what caused this wound, is the claw of the bear. Let's cut back to Lucy. Lucy, you wake up. Arthur and Lisa, her eyes may have been closed maybe a second or two, okay? Lucy, you easily have been out for maybe 3 or 4 minutes. And that entire time, you had a very vivid, lucid dream of being trapped inside of a display case with a skeleton of a bear. I'm going to need another stability test.
Okay. Okay. This is fine. I am going to spend a point just in case and hope for the best.
That's a 3, turns into a 4. It's a good thing you spent that point. All right, so Lucy, that brings you down to 7, right?
6.
Down to 6, okay. Gotcha. You're at 6 stability. Lucy, you come to. Like I said, in your mind, you have been, as best as you guess, you spent 3 or 4 minutes trapped inside of that case.
Okay, she's trying to catch her breath. And for a split second, she would think, oh, maybe I'm just dreaming. Maybe I woke up. And she still sees her friends around her. Randall's gone, and said, nope. Okay. She's going to slowly try to get up. We have to call the police.
What happened to you? Are you okay?
A headache from earlier came back, and I just...
Okay.
Yeah, I thought I was trapped with the bear skeleton, but...
Oh.
it is a quite brutal scene. Possibly some sort
I have a
of...
bloody nose. How great is that?
Real.
So, please continue.
Why don't you go ahead and sit down, and I'll go call the police. We don't want you passing out again.
Okay, she's gonna take a seat, probably on the step, the bottom step.
Let's cut to Randall.
Randall finds out realizes what happened with Austin, sorry, and realizes it's too late to try to save him, and realizes what's going on with Lucy, and follows her out there and tries to help her out. Lucy, what's going on? Are you okay? Sit down, relax, and gets her out of the room, gets her away from the scene, and tries to help. And while Lisa calls for help.
Okay. Lisa, you making a phone call?
Yes.
Down.
I assume I have a vague idea of where the phone is. Here.
There's a phone right on the front reception desk. So yeah, you go right there to the phone. You dial 911. You give the information. She asks if you're in danger.
I don't believe so.
Okay, she says, well, please leave the house, but I need you all to stay there. So go to the front porch, but I need you to leave the house. I've got officers on the way.
Sure thing. I'm gonna go back and let them know that we need to move it outside.
Oh, while we're moving outside, I'm gonna tell them what Miss Kingsley told me about her being chased and robbed by a mugger and Austin help. So that might have something to do with this.
And you guys have some time on the front porch before the police come. So, yeah, Lucy, you share that, the whole thing that happened with Margaret, what she shared. Any other conversations before the police show?
Arthur, he gathers his notebook and he looks at Randall. He goes, "Did you find anything upstairs? I saw you go up, but..."
I heard the scream right before I even opened the door. I didn't even look inside. So I don't know what's up there, who's up there, if any.
He's vigorously scribbling notes on anything that may have come up just so that he doesn't lose them.
Anything else we want to do before the cop show?
Is this a stability chance?
With the cop showing up?
No. A source of stability? Is there a chance to fit that in?
No.
Have
Now,
a Snickers.
You miss every shot you take. You don't take.
well, now, let's be clear though, Arthur, you have the shrink ability, right? So
Right.
if during these couple of minutes, if you want to offer some comfort to anybody that's done that, you can do that. And basically it's a 1-for-1 exchange. For every point of shrink you spend, you can increase anybody's stability by 1.
Yeah, I think Lisa was the one that had the horrible reaction along with me, correct?
Yeah, Lisa has 4. Arthur, you have 5. Lucy has 6. Randall has 8.
And shrink, does that apply to myself as well? Like if
I don't know the answer to that, but let's say yes.
Okay, so let's say Arthur is going to sit next to Lisa, and he's going to have his notebook out and kind of have a one-on-one session talking about, you know, what we both saw, comparing, just kind of talking out what happened through the whole situation. And I feel like it would be cathartic for both of them a little bit. If I were to spend like 4 shrink, would I be able to split that between
You
like
sure
2
can.
and 2?
Yep.
Awesome. So I will do that.
All right. So
To kind of play off of what he's doing, would I be able to use reassure for one of them to help get a stability point back, or it doesn't work like that?
it won't bring back stability. It potentially you could use it to get somebody like who's kind of panicking or freaking out, but no, like mechanically it wouldn't do that. All right, so we're putting Arthur back up to 7, Lisa, you're back up to 6 stability.
Awesome.
All right, 3 cop cars show up. A woman steps out of one of the cop cars. 4 other cops come out of the different cars. She's the only one that's dressed in just plain clothes, as opposed to a uniform. She walks up to the front, introduces herself. I'm Detective Gene Elroy. Who's going to explain to me what's going on?
I think Randall was in there the longest.
Yeah, I stand up and say, Detective, we found our friend Austin dead on the floor in his museum. He didn't show up for our session tonight, and we were worried. We tried calling, and
How do you know he's dead?
His front door was open, and we walked in and found his body on the ground.
Did you check the body?
I did. I checked for vital signs.
Did you touch him?
I did. Yes.
Okay, you're lying, right? Randall?
No, I touched him.
No, I'm talking to his GM because we didn't open the case.
Oh no, he was in the case.
Oh yeah, he's
See,
in the
I
case.
screwed that up.
That's all right.
I thought he was on the ground with blood.
No,
okay, so
he's in the case, impaled on the bear's claw. So let's rewind.
Impaled. Yeah, rewind. Thank
Yep.
you.
How do you know he's dead?
I'm a ex-combat medic for the U.S. Army, and I know a dead body when I see one. He was impaled by a claw of this taxidermy bear that he so feverishly loved. I don't get the taxidermy thing, but he's for sure dead.
Okay, I all of you, none of you, all of you, stay right here. Stay right here on the front porch. Jim, go back around behind back there. Steve, same. Go around the back there. Bob and I are gonna we'll go in the front. I expect all four of you to be here when I get back.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
So she walks in with the officer. They're in there maybe 4 or 5 minutes. She steps out, comes out. How do you know? What'd you say his name? She looks at her pad. How do you know this Austin? And she's looking at you, Lisa.
We're in a drug study together.
So you guys take drugs together?
No, a pharmaceutical drug study for Blue Gold.
Blue Gold. Great.
Yeah.
Okay. She's and that's how you know Austin, is that you guys, all of you, were taking drugs with Austin in this study?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am. Part of this
Yes.
study.
What kind of drug is this?
Oh, the drug's meant to increase cognitive ability and memory.
Okay. And has it?
Oh, I don't think that's the point right now.
And NDAs, officer. NDAs.
Ma'am, I'll worry about what the point is. All right. And what now? Explain to me why you came over this way. What brought all four of you over here?
We're friends, and he was not part of he did not show up for our meeting.
Okay, so you guys had a meeting tonight. He wasn't there. You decided you would come here and check on him. And how long have you all known Austin?
2 years.
2 years.
2 years, yeah.
Okay. And when I fingerprint this place, where am I going to see your fingerprints?
Well,
Mine will
detective,
be on the phone and the doorknob to go into the main museum area.
Okay, she's writing that down. Phone, front door. Did all of you touch the front door?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right.
Yes, ma'am.
Where else am I going to see fingerprints?
Well, detective, I used to work here. I helped build the stands and the display cases here in this first floor. We've all known him for quite some time.
So you used to work for him. She flips the paper. You used to work for him?
Absolutely.
Okay. And how would you categorize your relationship with him? Did he pay you?
Yes.
Did you ever have arguments? Did you ever disagree
No.
about anything?
No.
Okay. And he's paid you in full? He doesn't owe you any money?
Not at all.
And have you seen the entire house before tonight?
Yes.
Okay. And what kind of valuables does Mr. Austin have?
Well, if you call taxidermy valuable, there's that.
And do you find taxidermy valuable?
No.
Okay. And is there something in this house that you thought was really nice, or anything that you maybe talked to Austin about?
Ma'am, I don't know where this is going, but my friend's dead in there, and you're showing zero compassion for his 4 friends.
So you
I'm going
hear
to stop talking.
You hear the radio on the cop behind his little shoulder radio go off, and she goes, ma'am, and she goes, just 1 second. None of you go anywhere. She turns, talks to him, and she's like, I know. I got to take care. All right. Tell them we'll be there. She turns back around. She says, I'm going to seal this. I need you to all put your addresses down. So she hands the pad over, asks you to write down your names and addresses and phone numbers. I'm going to be reaching out to each of you individually. Do not go back inside there. And we'll get this all figured out. And if need be, I may need you have you come down to the station.
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
All right.
So you guys write that all down. She says, Bob, just stay in the car. And she, points to the car. One of the cop cars. Just stay over there on the other side of the street. Make sure nobody goes in and out. Make sure these 4 people leave. Lucy,
Yes.
I'm gonna flex that notice again on you.
Okay.
So you're gonna notice something. Want to get a sense of whether you really want to notice something, or do you just want to notice something?
Can I get a sense if I want to notice something? You know what? I just want to notice something.
Great. So we won't spend any points. When Lisa pulled the car up,
Mm-hmm.
you noticed just how dead, bad choice of words, how quiet the street was.
Too
There
soon.
wasn't people walking. There was no cars parked on there. And now your adrenaline's dropping a little bit. You're seeing these other cops and the detective going back to the cars. For the first time, you notice a large black sedan down the street that wasn't there when you guys got here. And as soon as you see it and pause on it, headlights come on, it does a 180 and drives away.
As it's driving away, because that would be a little bit weird, she's going to kind of tap the closest person to her and point at the sedan driving away. Was that car wasn't here before? Sorry, right? It wasn't.
I didn't see any cars coming in,
Okay.
and I take meticulous notes on anything that I can find, and I have no notes on a car. Nothing.
Is there anything else I can identify on a car, or just black sedan, like maybe a license plate, etc.?
So for notice, no, but if there's another investigative skill you want to try to flex, we can.
No.
So I don't know
Not
how
Lucy.
I don't know how the timeline worked, but if she caught Arthur while the car was driving away,
Sure.
would he be able to use investigative procedure to possibly notice anything?
So investigative procedure is more police procedural, right? So fingerprinting, dusting, forensics, and things like that. So no, I don't think that would help you as far as identifying more about the car.
I have a skill in mechanics.
Okay.
Could I use that point?
Yeah, and you don't need to spend any points for this. There's
Okay.
nothing more in additional. Your mechanic skill, car's brand new.
Okay.
Like off the lot, brand new. It still has dealer plates and tinted windows. Not something very common for 1991.
Yeah, I'm gonna tell the group that that car is super new. Someone has money, and it has tinted windows as well.
So the detective gets back in the car. The other cops do. Bob does his duty, gets across the street, goes into his car as well. One of the cops, before he goes there, says, "Oh, wait, what? Detective." She goes, "Yeah." She goes, "Come here." There's by the bushes by the front door. The cop says, "You see that? And you guys are all right there, and you guys all look." And the detective looks. She goes, "Yeah." So it is something you guys are all very familiar with. In fact, you've been familiar with it for about 2 years. It's the cardboard box that the thaumasine comes in. You can see that the box has been opened. You can see it's been kind of crushed, and it's kind of under the bushes there. So you can't tell if it's empty or not, but
Are the cops going to grab the?
she says go get gloves and go get a bag. So comes back, picks it up with the gloves. She kind of looks at it, drops it in the bag, and seals it. She hands it over to the cop, marks it down, writes different notes on it. Anything we want to do before they go? Okay. Cops take off. Good old Officer Bob is on the other side of the street.
Oh, Bob.
Did Arthur leave his notebook inside?
No, he has it currently.
Okay, good.
Yeah, I made sure to grab it.
It's like, we need to retcon and let them know that stat.
Yeah, no, we're good. Yep.
What do we want to do?
Lucy would say, "Well, I kind of don't want to go home because I live alone."
Is there a place that maybe we hung out with Austin at, or any sort of other area? The bar?
My bar. So to give us some background for everyone, when the bar closes, I will often invite you guys who's late night owls there. Because she manages it throughout the day and a lot of the times at night. And normally on her days of coming to the study, it will close early. So it's just like to the bar.
Yeah, and it's about 9:00 on a Tuesday night. So yeah, Lucy, the bar's closed, so you have no trouble going there. So do we want to smash cut to the four of you going to the bar?
Mm-hmm.
All
Yeah.
right. So the camera fades back in. We're inside the bar. Lucy, what kind of bar is this?
Oh, it's kind of like a cute little rinky-dink bar. It's a hole in the wall. If everything's pretty much made out of wood, the chairs are wooden. The bar is like a hard top counter wood. It looks super sad, but with a nice charm. The lighting is dim. And it's a good size for a hole in the wall bar. And it seems to be a local favorite because there's not too much of noise and not too much of strange traffic coming in and out. Stranger than what we normally get.
So I'm picturing Lisa, Arthur, and Randall. Your guys are at the bar. Lucy, of course, is behind the bar. I'm imagining, Lucy, you always do this, which is kind of this neat little touch, is you light the candles on the bar, even though the bar is closed, but they're here and they're your friends and they deserve to have the candles lit.
Yeah.
I also am imagining you opening the Tupperware and dumping some of the bar peanuts there for them to give them the full "the bar is open" experience.
Oh yeah. Yes.
I cannot wait to hear this discussion.
Before we start, this is testing the waters. I don't know if this is a possibility. So preparedness, I tried researching it. would Arthur possibly, maybe Austin was a doodler or something of that nature, always scribbling on napkins or something at the bar. Would Arthur have like a napkin or some sort of thing that Austin may have doodled on or drew something or wrote something on that he might have it might have piqued his interest and he just tucked it in his pocket?
Yeah, we can definitely have that for your preparedness. So sure. Yep,
Should I
done.
spend
And
a point?
I don't need a point for that. I'm okay with that.
All right.
Are you looking for this like a handwriting sample or a doodle or?
Anything, if he had some sort of obsession or any sort of something that he might have been thinking about at any point of time, because I picture them having sort of like pseudo intellectual and conversations. So
Here's what I'm willing to give you. How about a sheet of paper, a sketch, and he was thinking of buying a bobcat carcass and was going to stuff it and maybe sketch out a few of his poses that he was going to do. A couple of them you had nixed, and so he crosses them out. But yeah, you can have that in your pocket.
yeah, Arthur's gonna, as everyone sits down, he's gonna unfold it and kind of somberly look at it, and that's kind of his last memory of Austin sitting at the bar with this bobcat paper.
Do you pull the paper out?
Yes, he pulls it out, unfolds it on the bar top so that everyone can kind of see it. Doesn't really say anything, but taps his glass a few times, just looking at it.
So I think all of you probably, take a look at it and notice it. Lisa at the far end of the bar. Lisa, what are you drinking?
Well, being as we just found out our friend died, she'll just have whatever his favorite was in memory.
So you take a sip. How about an old man drink? We'll give you an old fashioned.
Nice.
So you're taking a sip of an old fashioned on the rocks. Everybody's kind of passing the paper along. They pass it to you, and it's still creepy taxidermy shit. So you don't spend a whole lot of time. You're like kind of sentimental, but push it along. Man, I don't know if you didn't eat much dinner. The booze, you're feeling the booze. You've only taken a few sips, and you feel
mixing drugs and alcohol.
Yeah, you feel a little tired, and kind of before you know it, you've closed your eyes and put your head on the bar. And for the other three of you, Lucy, I think you notice it first. You see this, and in Lisa's mind, it's kind of a gentle, like, oh, I'm kind of tired, and she kind of just lays her head on the bar. What the three of you see is her take a sip of the drink, she sets it down, and just head on the bar. It lasts. Go ahead, Lucy.
I'll go over and check on her as soon as I see her just drop.
But by the time you get there, she's already just kind of waking up. And, Lisa, Victoria, I want you to imagine, like, I'm sure you've done this. You've been on the couch and you think you're completely awake. And then your husband says to you, you've been snoring and you're like, you didn't even realize you fell asleep. That's what this experience is like. You didn't even really realize that you closed your eyes. But when you do wake up, you are feeling just a really nasty headache. And it's really occupying the base of your skull and the back of your head.
I guess I'm just gonna rub at the back of my head where it hurts.
Okay. Any other discussions or conversations that we want to have?
Lucy will ask Lisa, "Are you okay?"
Yeah, I just kind of dozed off and now I've got this headache.
No weird dreams? Yes.
No?
Okay. I also have a headache.
Randall, over at the other side of the bar, he's sipping on Hot Damn or Rumplemint, something to hurt me how I feel emotionally. That's the only 90s drink I could think of. but he hears the headache comment and he kind of looks over at the other side. And, you guys have headaches too?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've had this. I didn't realize it until earlier today. My head's been hurting me as well.
I didn't think anything of it until, actually, until right now.
Yeah.
Archer's
you,
kind of
Arthur?
he's kind of confused. Up to this point, I don't think unless I've missed anything, he hasn't really felt a headache. He's kind of felt pretty good, better than he has in a while.
Yeah.
He just kind of plays it off. He doesn't want to seem like the odd man out, and he goes, "Well, not lately. I haven't had one, but it's been a long day, and we've seen a lot, and I don't know."
Anything we want to do before we wrap for not tonight, like streaming, but for the evening in the game?
I want to ask Lucy a little bit more about this Miss Kingsley, about what was said, and there was a quick, brief mention of a mugging. What happened?
Yeah, so she wanted to thank Arthur for helping her. So what happened was she was getting robbed, as you know, Allentown, how it is currently. And she ran away from the guy. He got on top of her in front of Austin's
Austin.
door. Thank you. Austin's door. And the guy got away, but Austin opened up the door and helped her out. So maybe that guy came back.
Do we know anything about this Miss Kingsley? We might have a phone number or something to get more information on this mugging.
So you wouldn't know. The only thing that you know about Miss Kingsley, she's retired. She's in her mid-60s. You wouldn't have a phone number or anything. Now, Nurse
Phone
Sarah
book.
might. Or, yes, believe it or not, there are phone books.
Lucy, will you grab the yellow pages there? I need the white pages of that yellow. I need to see if there's a Kingsley.
I got you. Go grab our local yellow pages.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you find a Miss Kingsley, a Margaret Kingsley.
Okay.
Approximately what time is it right now?
Let's see. You're looking at, you probably got there about 7:30s when you got to Austin's. I'm thinking 10ish. Does that sound about right?
Sure.
Yeah.
I'm imagining the
Either.
whole thing with the cops took some time.
We left.
Yeah.
Yeah, we left at like 9:30. So
Guys, I feel like I want to call Miss Kingsley and kind of get some more information on who Austin might have encountered just the other day. Do you think it's too late to call her right now? Or do we care?
she's a mean old hag to begin with.
Yeah.
That is an accurate
Wake
statement.
her ass up!
It's very
All right.
rude.
Arthur
gonna
does
call.
not get along with Miss Kingsley.
I stand up, I go to the bar, I rotary dial the number, and I
I'm
got
not
that,
with you guys.
this 15-foot corded cable, and I go walk back to my seat with my hot damn in front of me.
Okay. Ring. Hello?
Miss Kingsley? Is that you?
Who is this?
This is Randall from, we're in the group together. We saw you just a few hours ago.
You're the handsome one with the beard, right?
Absolutely, I am. Sorry, yeah, I am. Yes, ma'am. That's me.
You know what time it is, right?
I do, and I'm sorry, but due to the circumstances, I had to risk waking you up.
Oh, did I forget something at the meeting? Sometimes I drop things. I'll you know what? Thank you. I will pick it up tomorrow.
Ma'am, no, wait. You remember Austin, how he was not at the meeting tonight?
Oh yes. Did you tell him? I asked Miss Jones, your friend Miss Jones, to thank him. Did you see him?
Ma'am, I sorry to be the bearer of bad news, but he's died. He's no longer with us.
He died?
Yes, ma'am.
My God. I just saw him just 2 days ago. Oh my.
Yeah, I'm sorry to have to be the one to tell you this, but I have to ask that encounter that you had with him, he saved you from a mugging, did he not?
I guess Miss Jones told you about. Yes. I was accosted by a man and near his home museum, and yes, yes, and then I immediately after it was over went, knowing he lived there. I'd been over for tea before, and yes, Austin was there, and he helped me and called the police, and yeah.
Can you tell me anything about the guy that attacked you? I
Well,
think maybe it might have something to do with it, and something we can communicate with the police to.
Well, they caught him. They caught him the next day. So, yes, he's been apprehended. I think his name was these young names. Terrence, I think. Terrence Bolt. Yes, yeah, Terrence Bolt was the young man's name. Oh, I'm just, I'm glad they caught him, and I got everything. He had spent some cash. I had some money set aside, but he got my book of stamps. I got my book of stamps back, and they were commemorative stamps for Margaret Thatcher stamps. By the way, do you collect stamps?
No, I collect calling cards.
You call it? Oh, okay. But yeah, they got the stamps back, and I hadn't gotten the drug. He had taken my drugs, so I hadn't gotten the drugs back. But that's okay because I got them tonight, and you were there. I remember seeing you.
Yes, ma'am. He took your drugs?
Well, I assume so. They were in my purse, and then when they returned the things to me, it was a detective lady. I can't remember her name, but she had me come by, and I returned she gave me back my purse and everything. And yes, the drugs weren't there and the cash were gone, but I had my son. My son has he designs little tiny ceramic elephants, you see, and I keep that in my purse, and that was there. That was still there, and it just drones and drones and drones. So at this point, Randall, if you're being polite, you pretty much know the complete contents of her purse. And I will summarize it for you. Everything was returned except the drugs.
Thank you for not putting us through that, Greg.
Darn it.
Thank you, Miss Kingsley. I appreciate it. I'm so sorry to tell you this.
Well, and when you see Austin, please make sure you thank him again for me, okay?
Yes, ma'am. I
And
will.
if you ever want to come over and talk, I enjoyed this. You're a very handsome man.
Thank you. I appreciate it, and I look forward to seeing you in 1 month's time for our meeting.
For what meeting?
I hang up. I didn't hear that. I was done. It's over.
All right. So after that climactic discussion, is there anything else we want to do this evening?
God, no.
Obviously, I assume you share this with everybody, right?
The important parts, yes.
Yeah. Arthur's going to kind of just write down a note about the pills missing as he kind of observed the crumpled up cardboard box in the bushes. Kind of piqued his interest and just scribbles down. Obviously, we don't have access to that currently, but something to think about.
Lucy will say the most, well, out of all today has been really off-putting, but the black sedan outside with still the dealership tags and everything that left as soon as I saw it. And I don't know, she'll look at Arthur and Randall because they did hang out with Austin a significant amount of time, much more than herself. She'll say, "Did he have enemies?"
None that you guys know of.
No.
If you were to
Side note, okay.
if you were to find out that literally the four of you were his only friends, it wouldn't have surprised you. He pretty much kept to himself.
Okay.
Do we know the make of the vehicle, like a Ford, Chevy, Mitsubishi, whatever it is?
Yeah. Let's say it's a Lincoln.
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 Lincoln sedan.
While I have the white book, I'm going to go to the yellow side of it. Yes, I'm old. And I'm going to look
was
for
like,
that
wow.
for a dealer that
for
sells
you kids, Google all this
Lincoln.
shit.
Lincoln dealer.
Yeah, I'm looking for the Lincoln dealer where it is in the town. Just if I knew that off the top of my head, great. If not, I got the yellow pages there, and
Yeah, there's only
Wanna-
one Lincoln dealership, so you have no trouble writing it down. What's the name of it?
shit, I need something snarky. This is early '90s. I don't know.
Is anybody else familiar with the Lincoln dealership? Come on.
Please don't make me say the pun.
It's on
You
you,
can do
Vic.
it.
What's the name of the Lincoln dealership?
Honest Abe's Lincoln.
It's Lincoln's Lincoln.
Yeah, Lincoln's Lincoln.
Okay. Allentown's Lincoln's Lincoln.
Oh, that is a
Run
bite
by-
to it.
Gotta throw an honest in there though. At the,
Yeah,
the first
honest. Well, so his name's Dave Lincoln. He's the one that owns the dealership. But this is going to surprise you. He completely overtakes local commercials, especially during the evening news. And it is Honest Dave Lincoln's ad. So you guys are very familiar with it. But Randall, looking in there, that's the only dealership you see.
I'm going to tear that page out and I'm going to fold it up and put it in my pocket.
Okay. So I'm imagining the rest of the evening, you guys lament, probably tell stories about Austin. Talk about the car, the mugging, Arthur's apparent connection between, hey, they found drugs, but they weren't back in old lady Maggie's purse. And we're about 90 minutes in. So what I'd like to do is I'd like to give everybody a chance to take a 10-minute break. So we're going to jump to a quick 10-minute break. And when we get back from this break, we're going to figure out who's first to die. We'll be right back. right, welcome back, everybody. And for those of you that stuck around for that stunning 10-minute timer, I appreciate you sticking around as well. So I'm going to have everybody going to bed tonight. The only thing I think that's unique is Lucy. Lucy, you mentioned that you would prefer not to go home alone. So
Lucy would kind of look at Lisa and say, "Hey, do you mind if I crash on your couch tonight?"
Sure.
Oof.
As
Great.
long as
Great.
you don't mind cats, that's fine.
how did I know she had cats? All right, so Arthur, you go home, go to bed. Randall, exhausted, you go home, go to bed. Lucian, you go back with Lisa, back to her place. Let's talk about the night. Arthur, pretty restful, especially all things considered. Pretty restful. You can whatever you have spent other than sanity, you can go ahead and restore. So any of your investigative spends you can restore, as well as your general abilities. Randall, I don't know if you spent any general abilities. You can restore all of those, but it wasn't a great night. So you woke up several times during the evening and stuff. So any investigative spends, I'm not going to restore, but your generals I can restore. Lisa, I think you slept well, all things considered. So you can restore both investigative and general, just not stability. Poor Lucy. Lucy, it was nightmares most of the night. You went through the nightmare again of being trapped in that case. At times it was just you in the case. At times it was you and the bear, and the bear was like alive and moving, but still bones. There was times when it was you, Austin, and the bear in the case. There's times where you opened up the case and just the shining blood just filled the room, and you would try to get up, go outside, walk, come back in, and you had a rough night. So we're not going to restore anything, both investigative as well as general abilities.
Okay.
I am going to cut to Arthur though. Arthur, you get a phone call that wakes you up. No, it doesn't wake you up. You're up way before this phone call happens. It's about 8 a.m. You get a phone call, and it is our detective. She says that she would like for you to be down at the station by 9:30.
Oh, absolutely. I'll be down there by 9:15, and he hangs up.
So we smash cut to 9:15. You're in front of the Allentown downtown police station. You come up, and cop says, "Yeah, she's waiting for you. Just have a seat over there." You have a seat over there. And then over the next 15 minutes, both Lucy and Randall walk in. And both of them got the call at the same time. What's really odd is that Lucy stayed with Lisa. I assume Lucy and Lisa drove in together, yet somehow Lisa is still late. So it's like 10 after 9:30, and then Lisa rushes in. Like she just shows up.
It's a talent.
So one at a time, Detective Gene Elroy interviews each one of you. Who wants to be interviewed first?
I'll take it.
All right. So you're in your standard 1991 Allentown interrogation room. I'm not going to role play the whole thing, but there's a few things. One, she has a lot of very specific questions. You're in a good spot, though, Lucy, because telling the truth is easy, right? So you tell her the truth. There's nothing incriminating about it. Everything you explain to her checks out. She does a few things. One, she asks you whether you know a Margaret Kingsley.
Yes, she's also a part of the study as well.
And can you give me an idea of the relationship between this Margaret Kingsley and Austin?
Honestly, I believe she only went to his house maybe once or twice. Everyone kind of loved Austin.
Is there any reason why you think that she would be at Austin's?
No, but I am aware 2 nights ago she was mugged, and Austin was able to like help her out.
She was mugged, and you see her flip the paper out, and she's writing that down.
Yeah.
Okay, she was, and was that reported?
Yeah. Was it reported? I'm not sure if it was reported, but I know she spent the night at the hospital.
Okay, do you know what hospital?
I didn't ask.
Okay. She has a picture. She slides a picture over to you, and it's the bottom. It's a picture of the bottom of the stand, the case. It's really just unsettling, right? So you can see the pooled blood. It's like 4 inches up off the base of just a pool of blood. You can see Austin's toes in the top of the picture. Right above where his toes and feet are, though, there's scrawled a 1, a slash, and a 3
1/3.
in blood on the inside of the case. She says, Could you tell me what this means?
Give me a check. Second, I'm checking my abilities. No, I can't.
So, did he 1/3? Is that something that's significant? We think he wrote it with his own hand, with his own blood.
1/3. 1/3. In her time with Austin, did he mention anything? That's what I thought.
Yeah.
No.
Okay. We went through his wallet. Nothing was taken. We don't see anything taken in there. I do need to understand this drug situation a little bit more, because we did find medical records. So do you have any conditions that has led you to start taking this drug?
No.
Dementia, anything?
No. One of my friends kind of got me in this study. They dropped out like the first meeting, and I just kind of stayed because I like the people I met there.
So no onset Alzheimer's in your family or anything?
Not that I know of. No, maybe my great grandmom.
Okay, and how were you being paid for this?
Check.
A check, and this was from this. You mentioned it that night, the Blue Gold research.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay, the same Blue Gold that's just outside of town.
Yes.
Okay, all right, thank you. Now, all three of you have a very similar conversation with her. She shows all of you the 1 slash and the 3 written in his blood. They ask you about Margaret. Asks you also about Blue Gold, and Lisa, she spends a little bit more time with you. She says, I know you're a journalist.
Mm-hmm.
What do you know of this Blue Gold? And what do you know about this drug? Did you do any investigating and digging in this before you went into it?
Yeah, actually, back in the day, 2 years ago, before they even started the study, I had written a piece about it. Honestly, not a huge fan of Blue Gold. I don't think too many people are.
Well, since they skipped town and have basically shut down the entire factory, I can understand that.
Yeah.
That's all you know. No, I mean, what you wrote in that piece really was kind of first exposure. And for those of you watching, what had happened is roughly about 2 years ago, Blue Gold shut down operations, essentially. They kept this study going, but otherwise had kind of shut down operations, which was really kind of a kick in the gut for Allentown, because they were given considerable amount of tax breaks with a promise of bringing in hundreds or tens of thousands of jobs into Allentown. And they did initially, but within 2 years of building the facility, which they had taxpayer help and all of that, they kind of shut everything down and laid everybody off. Are there anybody of the four of you during those conversations with Detective Elroy, is there any of you that want to ask her a question? Go ahead, Archer.
I think he would be. He has never been interrogated by like an American police officer, so he might not know the kind of interpersonal relationship. And he's like, he's scratching his head. The pills that you found, the cardboard. I saw you take it. Whose was that?
That's why I asked you about the woman, about the Margaret. I wanted whether you knew her.
What's
Those pools, those were her pills, at least according to the label that are on them. So I do have a question.
Uh-oh.
Oh no.
Craig, where'd you go? There you are.
I gotcha.
Oh my God, they killed Craig. I'm back. Zombie Craig. Crap, I forgot what I was going to say. Oh, asked you about dosage. So you take a pill a day. And she asked you about that, and she asked you, have you ever taken more than one pill?
Not lately.
So you have taken more than one pill before?
I find it sometimes interesting to see the effects of pharmaceuticals on one's mind. It's interesting to test.
You're such a stoner. So, how many pills have you taken at once?
Oh, no more than 2, ma'am. No more than 2.
Okay.
I did
Okay.
notice a difference. I can show you the notes.
No,
If you
I
pulse-
believe you. I believe you. Thank you. Now, she actually brings this up with both Lucy Randall and Lisa. Had any of you ever taken more than one pill?
No.
No. And she does drill down on that. All right, so that's Archer's questions for the detective. Anybody else have questions for the detective?
I'd like to ask her, kind of mention to her that we spoke with Miss Kingsley and learned that this Terrence Bolt tried to mug her and asked. And I want to ask: Is he a suspect that we need to worry about, or is he locked up right now, or is he in your custody?
No, it was a minor offense. He's out on bail. But it is interesting. I don't think that we made that connection until earlier. Your friend Arthur mentioned it, and I did a little digging, and that does match up. We did get a call that night, and this Margaret woman was mugged. Obviously, it's obvious this Terrence Bolt is the perpetrator and who murdered your friend. So we're already pretty much have cleared you, and we should have this wrapped up pretty quickly. We're out looking for him now. But it's obvious that's what happened. He's obviously was mad at him or something along those lines. He's a young man. I'm sure he just angry about him for something. But he's got a long rap sheet. He had that incident with the old lady, and there's no doubt in our minds. And in fact, we found his fingerprints. We found his fingerprints on the display case. So this is pretty much wrapped up.
Fair enough. Never mind. I don't have bullshit detector.
Somebody has bullshit detector. Who had bullshit detector?
Probably Lucy, right?
Randall, I had you with one in bullshit detector,
No.
did I not?
Oh, dang it. I have someone
might
else's
be
sheet open.
Lisa.
Oh, there you go.
I use bullshit detector.
It is not.
Holy shit, I'm a journalist.
I'm going to use my bullshit detector that I just opened on my actual character sheet. So I'm
Okay.
sorry.
Do you wish to spend any points, or do you just want to take the basic?
I'm going to do the basic.
So she's not lying to you, right? So you can tell that she's telling you the truth, but you can also tell that she's not real interested in digging into this shit, right? She quickly she has made her decision. In her mind, this Bolt guy did it, and they're gonna wrap this up, and all your bullshit detector is kind of giving you the feeling that even just this conversation that she's having with you and the other three of you is probably just dotting I's and crossing T's.
Gotcha. I would like to ask if the crime scene has been cleaned and cleared to where we can prepare for his whatever the next stage is for him and his family. Or
Well,
do we know if he has a family?
We haven't been able to find any next of kin, and I don't understand why you would care about the crime scene, but it is still an active crime scene, though. Like I said, we should have this all figured out soon. We've got his body down in the morgue, but yeah, it's an active crime scene. We have not been able to find next of kin yet.
Okay.
Shadika or Victoria, did you have any questions for the detective? And no's okay. I don't want to speed to the next scene and leave either of you hanging.
No, Lucy doesn't necessarily like cops. So she's already bothered being here.
Yeah. Yep. Well, Detective Elroy was more than happy to keep it short and sweet with you too. So that was very easy. So let's smash cut to the four of you on the steps of the police station. Roughly about 10 a.m. Lucy, you see the car again. This time it's moving though, so it's not real clear if it was parked, but it's driving, and you catch it as it takes a right turn and heads down at a side street.
She's gonna say, okay, I believe in coincidences, right? But hear me out on this. I saw the same black sedan just drive by.
Randall says, "Where did it go?
She's gonna point in the direction and say around the corner.
Is that corner close enough for me to run? And I'm not gonna ask that. I'm gonna go running towards that corner and see if I can see where that car's going."
So Randall takes off, heads down the street, and Randall, by the time you come around the corner, you don't see any black sedan.
Arthur's keeping a tally of like black sedan sightings. He has 2 currently.
Okay, good.
And we weren't able to see anything. You said it's all tinted windows, right?
Yeah.
Do we have Nurse Sarah's contact information?
You do.
Arthur's going to look at everyone and say, things have been crazy. I don't know what's going on. And you believe in coincidences. I believe in coincidences. But maybe Nurse Sarah has something. Maybe they upped someone's dosage. Maybe there was someone gunning for his dosage. I don't know. We should try and get in contact with her. Kind of trails off.
Yeah, it's been a pretty rough 2 days.
At the very least, she deserves to know.
Yeah. Is there a payphone around? Because payphones are a thing then.
Yeah. And you guys all have her contact number, so all of you have a card for her. And the instructions were if you were to ever have extreme side effects that you felt were related, or if for some reason you lost your pills or anything, you were to reach out. So you all have Nurse Sarah's number.
Oh, should we mention to her that we're having headaches?
I mean, it might be a side effect.
Arthur's still feeling fine, right? That's comforting.
Cody, have you ever wanted your character to have a headache more than you do right now?
Arthur's gonna slam his head into the concrete to fit in. Yeah, I assume one of us can find a payphone and give her a ring. Maybe.
Sure. Who wants to do that?
I talked to Miss Kingsley for an hour and a half. I'm not doing it.
I called the police.
I'll call her.
All right.
Okay. I was gonna say rock paper scissors.
Yeah, no. Arthur's gonna make his way, shamble over to a payphone and plug in her contact information.
I'll get the next call.
Yeah.
Well, trust me, Archer's keeping note of that in his notebook. How many
Yes.
phone calls everybody's made?
Well, hey, judging by the headache, you'll have to get the next call because Arthur's gonna be dead.
Oh,
So the phone rings. Picks up and she goes, "Hello."
Nurse Sarah, it's Arthur from the study.
Why are you calling?
We had some questions. We were wondering if you had a moment.
She hangs up on you.
Bitch.
dang.
Damn.
That was 10 cents.
He's offended by this. He turns back and he immediately shoves some more coins into the payphone. Jams in the numbers and calls again.
Picks up. Hello?
Nurse Sarah, it seems
Hangs up.
He's gonna reconvene with the group and say, "She won't pick up on me." He's extremely frustrated. He can't even really convey his thoughts.
It's okay. I will try. Lucy's going to go and try and call Nurse Sarah.
Okay. Are we going to try anything different than our friend Archer did?
Probably not lead with I have questions.
Well, so the reason I'm bringing this up, Shanika, is that of all the characters, you have probably the most points in interpersonal.
Ah, okay.
Arthur is not very interpersonal.
Okay. Yeah, very true. Okay. I don't think she'll hang up on me right away, but she's going to when she calls her and if she picks up, Lucy will say, "Nurse Sarah, it's about the side effects."
Okay, fair. Is there any? Let's see. You've got 1 in flattery, 2 in flirting, 2 in impersonate, and 1 in streetwise. Did you want to use any of those skills for this conversation?
I'm going to do flattery.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So the phone rings. Hello.
Nurse Sarah, it's about the side effects, I promise.
What? Why are you calling? Well, what side? I don't care about side effects. I don't want you calling. I don't want any more contact with anybody in the study. So please tell your friends to not call me.
Wait.
You can throw away the card.
Wait, Nurse Sarah, before you hang up, please listen. You were spot on yesterday. You noticed the effects right away. We need to know what's happening. Mind you, she's pulling out her ass at this point because she's like, "Wait, what's happening?"
But you're using flattery nicely. Well done. GM Craig is happy.
She's like, "You caught it. You've been with us for 2 years. Please help us."
I've left Blue Gold. I'm not part of the study anymore. I highly recommend you stop as well. It's not worth the money. It's not worth the dangers. It's not worth anything. And
What dangers?
Please stop calling me. Please.
Please, Nurse, you're the only one we can rely on.
So that's my favor to you. My favor to you is to throw away the pills and just forget all of this happened. And I'm sorry your friend is dead, And I'm sorry
Wait, you
all
knew?
of this happened, and I'm not part of anything anymore. And please, I'm you're a very, very nice young lady. I don't want to be a part of any of this anymore.
Besides, wait, no, you can't just hang up and leave us like this. No one has to know that you've talked to us.
They know, and I'm not having this conversation anymore. And she does hang up. She does hang up on you.
Stop, asshole.
Now you know how Archer feels.
She's going to walk over to the team. Okay, I don't know what's happening, but hear me out. Nurse Sarah, I don't know if she's a nurse anymore. She said she quit. Maybe she stopped being a nurse, but she's not working there anymore. She said to stop being a part of the study and stop taking the medicine because the dangers that's involved of it. And she's kind of terrified and said cut all contact with her. And I'm not freaking out per se yet. But
you are starting to black out though, Lucy. So again, your vision starts to blur a little bit. We see her toddle. Randall and is able to catch her before she falls. And Lucy, it's very similar to your previous situation where you lucidly felt you were several minutes out. It happens very quickly for everybody that is there. This time, you're seeing a figure walking up to the front door of Austin's. And you start above like you're a bird watching this, and you zoom into this figure's head, and you're now looking through this figure's eyes, and you see yourself taking a crowbar and breaking open the front door. And it kind of repeats, and it goes on for like 2 or 3 minutes in your mind. But for everybody else, you kind of staggered a little bit. You fell. Randall caught you, and you immediately wake up. And that's where we are right now, is you waking up.
Lucy, are you okay?
No.
Here, take your medicine.
No. I was breaking into Austin's house. Like first I was up, and then I saw myself break into Austin's house, and then I woke up.
You saw yourself?
It was like a few minutes. I don't think it was me. Maybe
Archer's gonna look at Randall and. When was the last time you took the pills?
Did any of you take your pills this morning?
I
Archer
would have
did.
forgotten. Yeah.
He's
I
got
wouldn't
one of
have
those
known.
like Sunday through Saturday pill boxes.
So Archer took his pill this morning. Lucy, do you think you did?
She so Lucy doesn't take her pills on time.
Okay, so we'll say you haven't taken your pills. How about Lisa?
Yeah.
It's been a daily routine for 2 years. She would have remembered to take it.
Yeah, Randall?
No. He's used to sleeping in and taking it after a long sleep. And
Okay.
the turmoil from the previous night, no.
Yep.
You forgot.
Yeah.
Randall kind of thinks for a second and mentions, we talk a lot about coincidences and things happening. Should we go check out Austin's house to see if what this thing is that our friend is seeing?
From what the detective told us, it's an active crime scene, so it might be difficult getting in there.
Lucy,
We may not need to get in.
Lucy would say, and also the car, the black sedan, is something we can check out as well.
Well, these visions keep leading to Austin's house. There must be something. the bear that you've seen, the man or the figure breaking in. There's something's not right.
And I don't feel we're getting enough help from the police.
No.
Yeah.
It doesn't
no.
feel right that they're nonchalantly just pinning it on one person when I think there's something more here.
Sure, but crime scene.
How
Look
about
at
we drive by and
Lisa
see
You
the-
don't
where
want to
we're
get
Lisa-
arrested.
Lisa, the journalist, she's the straight-laced one.
Archer will just get deported. That's about it. So going back to the USSR.
at.
Oh,
Right.
that sounds like a good time.
Yeah.
Gulag, yeah.
Lucy would say, let's check out. Wait, are we? Because she'll look at Lisa. Maybe you'll know this. Can we see who brought a new Lincoln sedan?
I mean, we could
If
probably
we go there?
We could probably talk to old Honest Dave.
Yeah, I got my car from him. It stopped a month later.
I've never hated a commercial more in my life. But yeah, I suppose we could go out there and ask. I don't know if he'd be able to tell us anything, but
How does
Worth a
everybody
shot.
feel about splitting the party up?
Randall really wants to get arrested, huh?
I would be completely down with you to go back to the house.
I've got a
Not
two-seater
us.
Fiero. That's it. So I can only fit one person in my Fiero. That's it.
Randall and Lucy gonna
Is
go
this-
commit some crimes.
What's the plan?
I'm
Archer
stuck on
is-
going back to Arthur or Austin's. That's where my
Okay.
character's head's stuck at.
Archer is interested in that as well.
Okay. Lucy and Lisa?
Lucy's going to look at Lisa. I keep seeing Austin's place. Do you want to go talk to Honest One by yourself?
Come with us. Come with us. You could stay at the car. Won't get involved. We may not even. We may
Since
not
you're
even
s-
stop.
Since you're so insistent.
And you saw how they were in there. They probably already got rid of the person that was watching the house.
You know what? Let me grab my camera real quick, and at least we'll have an excuse for being there.
I like where your head's at.
So it's just before lunch. We see Lisa's station wagon pull up. There is no cop, so apparently Bob's not on this shift, nor is anybody else. And I'm imagining now. Well, actually, I'm not imagining anything. Where are we going to park the car?
On the street. Across
So-
across the
That-
street.
We're in
Down
at
the
least two
street?
different cars, right? I mean, I'm going in my Fiero. It's there at the police station because
Sure.
we arrived separately. Maybe Arthur and I are in the same vehicle, and the ladies are in the other vehicle.
Sure.
Knowing that I'm not there on any fibbed official capacity, I'm parking around the corner or down the street, something in close proximity.
Sure. Done. So you guys are there. You guys are in your cars, parked.
I get out, and start walking towards the house, looking to see what do I see? Do I see an officer parked out front, or is it empty, or a werewolf? I don't know.
No, the only thing that you can see from if you're getting on the sidewalk in front of the house, you do see the yellow evidence sticker on the front door, kind of sealing the door. That's it.
Lucy would say, I'll check to see if his back door is open.
So Lucy, you go down the driveway. You have the one-car garage. There's a 6-foot fence. You're able to easily reach around, click it, to push open the door to the fence. You go to the backyard. In the backyard, the back door does not have that evidence seal on it.
Okay, I want to see if I can open it up.
It's locked.
Ugh. I want to check the windows as well.
Locked.
Okay, I'm gonna go back around front. Yeah. Would Austin tell anybody where a spare key is?
Ooh.
Ooh.
Can I use preparedness for this?
I think you can. My recommendation is spending a point, though.
I'll spend a point in preparedness to.
Alright.
Okay.
So you noticed at one point his hide a key. Didn't matter to you, didn't care. There's one time I think maybe you guys were at Lucy's and maybe had a few. And I think you felt better taking Austin home. Austin could not find his keys. And you did notice him go to the tomato garden and pull a rock aside. And there was a small mint can that he opened up and took the key out. So yeah, for one preparedness, we can make that the case.
Yeah, Arthur's going to just kind of recollect through notes or its memory, whatever it may be, and kind of walk over, see Lucy struggling with the door, and instinctively go to the mint can or whatever it is and flip it. Does he find a key?
Yep.
Awesome. So he grabs the key. He's going to go, I think you're missing this, my friend.
Thanks.
Ever the most personable person.
So you go to the back door. Key works, and you guys are able to open up the back door. The back door opens up to an efficiency kitchen. Now, you guys know that it used to be a full kitchen, but he slowly kept making the kitchen smaller and smaller as he expanded his dream of the Natural Museum. So you guys are all four of you together going?
On my way to the backyard where everybody else is, I want to stop and look at the front door to see, based off of what was said in this vision, see if anything kind of clicks. And
let's take a look here. Is there an investigative skill you want to use, Randall?
Shoo. Let's.
I'll give you something. I'll give you something for Streetwise. But you want to use Streetwise? You don't need to spend.
Oh yeah, okay, that works.
So
yeah,
you
I'll use Streetwise.
So using your Streetwise, looking at this, Lucy mentioned in her vision the front door being broken open by a crowbar, and you look at where that chipping and breaking happened that you noticed the night before, and now understanding the crowbar, you having a little bit of a Streetwise sense of breaking and entering, things like that, it completely matches. I mean, there's now no question in your mind that door was broken open by a crowbar, exactly as Lucy remembered in her vision.
Gotcha. Yeah, as soon as I check out that door, I don't go through that door. I'm going back around with the rest of the group and communicating that to Lucy that, in fact, what she saw is what appears to have happened out at that front door.
Huh. Okay. And here I just thought I was going crazy.
So you guys are in the
coincidence.
In the efficiency kitchen. You know that the door then opens up to the main back area where you found the body the night before. Do you guys want to head in there?
Sure.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So you head in there. Most of the blood has been cleaned up off of the floor. The door to the display cabinet is opened. The bear is still there, but it's missing the arm that Austin was impaled on. So it looks like that they disconnected or cut it at the elbow. So the right hand, right claw that he was impaled on is gone. You do see the 1/3 that you saw in the photograph. You see that it's on the inside of the cabinet, as she claimed it was. So those are all things that you notice as soon as you go in.
Okay. Do you guys have any idea what the 1-3 means? I look at like Arthur because she considers him like the smartest one out the bunch.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing I could think of was if he had any sort of history or research into a discussion with Austin about this number. If that wouldn't have been a situation, I don't think he would have had any idea. It's almost like troubling to him that he can't wrap his head around it.
Yeah, there's nothing for any four of you that ties that 1/3 or 1/3 or whatever the heck it is in any way, an understanding of what the hell that was. Outside of the fact that it appears to be one of the last things he did.
Yeah. We know his room is upstairs, correct?
Correct. So upstairs, he's got a bedroom, 2 guest bedrooms, and a bath. And one of the guest bedrooms he's converted to an office.
Randall's gonna not beeline, but head towards the stairwell and avoid where he saw his friend dead in that vicinity, and try to head upstairs.
Okay. So Randall goes upstairs. Anybody else going upstairs?
Archer's gonna follow suit.
I want to check downstairs for a little bit more to see
Sure.
if the cops missed anything, and then hit upstairs if she finds nothing.
Great. Where do you want to look, Lucy? And do you want to use any skills?
So I think I want to look behind the desk of the reception area to see. She don't know. Maybe the killer decided to sign himself in for some reason. This crazy man. She doesn't know.
So you look through the book. You don't see any Terrence Bolt, which is the name that's been thrown around. And best as you can tell, it's pretty obvious, unless he wasn't using, because he's very meticulous about signing people in. It's been over a week since he's opened the museum. So it doesn't look, according to the book, it doesn't look like there's been any visitors or anybody registered.
Okay.
You do find the lockbox though, the money lockbox, and it's in the drawer, and you open it up, and it's got about $75 worth of cash in it.
Oh wow. Okay, she's gonna close that back. Respectful to the dead.
What's Lisa doing? My journalist.
Lisa's gonna go ahead and take her own evidence pictures since she brought the camera with her.
Yeah.
Just kind of snapping pictures of things she thinks are important.
Okay. All right, let's cut to Archer and Randall upstairs.
Go ahead and open that door at the top of the stairwell. Well, actually, is it just a main door that?
Yeah, it's just a hall.
the
It's just a
stairwell?
hallway. There's not even a door.
A door
So
to the
yeah, you go to the top. There's a hallway, and at the end of the hallway is the bathroom. To the left is the master bath, or master bedroom where he sleeps. There's a guest room across from that. I imagine there may have been a night that you may have even stayed there, or even Arthur would have stayed there after having a few. And then that the other guest bedroom is he uses his office.
I look at Arthur, kind of say, I suggest we check out maybe his office, see if we can see anything that might put us in a direction to help figure out what's going on with us.
You're on mute, Cody.
Sorry about that. I agree. He's going to start heading towards the office with Randall.
Okay. So you guys get to the office. Nothing appears to be out of sorts. So for either of you, I would imagine at some point you saw his office. It doesn't seem to have been turned over. It doesn't seem to, it's very neat and tidy, which is very Austin.
Is sense trouble like something that we can gauge? I know you said it's not out of sorts at all? Is there any sort of feeling that we get?
Yeah, so if you have sense trouble and you want to use that, keeping in mind sense trouble is for impending danger, right? Is
Okay.
there something? Is there somebody hiding in the closet somewhere? Is there a trap door somewhere? And so if you've got at least a rank in it, there's nothing in the office that's causing your sense danger to go off.
Okay.
I want to sit at his desk, see from his point of view what he would see when sitting there, and see if anything stands out, and just kind of see if there's anything that stands out from that point of view.
So you sit in his chair, and you're there for a second. You immediately look over at Arthur, and you're half expecting to see him messing with the thermometer. Because as soon as you sat in the chair, you felt the same thing that you did back before, which is that temperature drop. Just enough that's noticeable, not enough to be uncomfortable. But obviously he's not at the thermometer. As you look over the desk, something does stand out immediately on the desk. Austin was good at taxidermy. And to the point where it was really difficult to tell when he had started, because you didn't see any early works, right? Any bad taxidermy. And whether he threw it out, had been doing it so long or whatever, you don't know. But in the right-hand part of the desk, there is a pigeon, a stuffed pigeon, but it's malformed, poorly done. So the eyes are not matching. You can tell that the eyes aren't like in any way symmetrical. So one eye is like down too far, and you can kind of see the seam that you would never see in a work from Austin, where it was not sealed correctly and placed correctly. The pose is awkward. There's parts of the pigeon that are stuffed more than they should have. Other parts of maybe aren't stuffed nearly as well. And it's kind of mounted on a wood plaque. And maybe the reason you notice it from where you're sitting, as opposed to when you walked in, is there is in black magic marker written on the pedestal. So facing where you're sitting, written on the pedestal, you see to Austin from Eric.
Is this small enough that I could grab and take downstairs?
Oh yeah. It's a
Yeah.
stuffed pigeon on
It's
a wood plank.
Okay. I show Arthur this funky bird. Do you know if he had a friend named Eric?
I haven't. If he did, I have not seen him. No.
I hand it to Arthur to hold and say, "I'll be right back. I'm gonna go check the guest ledger downstairs."
Well,
And so,
go ahead.
I was gonna say I'm just gonna start walking that way, walking downstairs.
Okay.
I was gonna do a quick check of the bathroom cabinet, like the medicine cabinet.
Mm-hmm.
If Arthur could see if he had his last dosage, whatever dosage that he got from the meeting that he was at, if that pill canister is in there, and if it's empty, if it's full, there's any sort of info.
So you see kind of, nothing really stands out. You don't see a current box for the drugs, and you know that he got a refill obviously last month at the last meeting. So that's not there in the medicine cabinet. Up top though, on the top row of the medicine cabinet, You see Q-tips sticking out of a box. And you kind of disregard it at first, then your eyes go back to it again, and you realize it's got a blue gold emblem, like logo, at the very bottom of the box. And you pull the box down and you look at it, and it's faded. It's an older box, and it's got his name on it.
A little unsettled. He's going to take the box. He has this malformed pigeon in one hand, and he has this box in the other. He's going to slowly shut the door with the medicine cabinet with his shoulder and step away and kind of scamper after Randall, feeling a little bit uneasy.
You shut the mirror. The medicine cabinet, I'm sorry, and it's got the mirror.
Right.
Face there, and you see corner of your eye at the shower like a flash, and it's I want you to imagine somebody with a camera flash. It happens quick. Yes, I'm here. It happens quick. Saw something. It was a shape, a person. Couldn't tell, but you felt Austin.
Okay.
And you turn your head immediately. Nothing's there.
Yeah, he immediately shakes his head.
First thing you do is a stability test.
Yeah, this is him shaking his head. Let's see how hard he shakes it. All right. I learned from my last mistake. We're gonna drop one again.
All right, so go ahead and spend one.
Yep. So we
we'll add
spend
a
one.
plus
we're down
one to the
8.
roll.
Oh man.
All right.
Didn't even need to.
So you rolled a foe, brings you to a 5.
All right, so we're at stability 8.
So for this not to mess with your head, how is it being rationalized in the good professor's mind?
Yeah, after his many years of studying the brain, he knows that there are some sort of the way that medicine can affect the brain. It can work in different ways to different people. And so he sees that and he kind of rationalizes it as, he's thinking back to Lisa taking pictures downstairs, and he's thinking maybe he's got the flash from Lisa's camera in his eye. And so he's kind of shakes it off. He still has that feeling of Austin, but kind of puts that towards the events that just happened.
So I'm going to cut to Lisa and Lucy down there back at the old museum, pictures being taken. And I'm imagining, and if I'm wrong, tell me, I'm imagining Lucy, you're kind of helping out saying, hey, maybe want to take a picture of this, right? And you're kind of looking through. Yeah. And in one of the back cabinets, you pull out, just to take a look in the drawers, and you pull out the drawer, and there's a stack of papers in it. And you pull the papers out, and you start going through the papers, and at the very top of the papers are medical records for Austin. And it appears, according to those records, 6, maybe 7 years ago, he was diagnosed with early onset Alzheimer's and dementia.
Oh, wow.
Prognosis was full onset within a decade, within 10 years. You then flip through and you find the consent form for Blue Gold for the study that you're in. And you see he has it all filled out. He has lied about the medical history. He marks no conditions along those lines. In the upper right-hand corner of the sheet, now this is a sheet you've seen. You filled this out two odd years ago. If you look in the upper right-hand corner of the sheet, And you see in a pen that's not the pen that was used to fill this out, there's a thing that says group. And it says 3. And there's a slash and a 2.
Lisa. It's something here. So Arthur, not Austin. Austin was diagnosed to be Alzheimer's dementia. Wow, words are hard tonight. Dementia. And he lied on his consent form saying that he had no past medical records. And then I found this number, and she's going to like aggressively point to that 3/2. Maybe it's something to do with the 1/3.
Maybe, but they separated us into groups for the study, so that might just be.
Let's cut to Arthur and Randall.
Arthur's gonna come, not running down the stairs, but
He doesn't run anywhere.
yeah, he's definitely scuffling quicker than normal, and he almost falls into Randall. He goes, "Randall," and he holds up he's got the pigeon in one hand and kind of tucks that away, and he shows him the blue gold case that he found. He goes, "I was looking. There was a flash. It must have been Lisa, but I can feel him. He's here. I can feel Austin." And he doesn't normally speak like this. He's almost acting irrational. Definitely shook at this situation, not knowing how to wrap his head around it.
Yeah, Randall, being previously in the medical field, he recognizes that someone of your stature never acts like this, and it's something unique that's going on, and takes it serious and listens to everything you had to say. And I don't believe I recognize this box from Blue Gold, do I?
Let me look at you, sir, Mr. Randall. We've got Streetwise Reassurance, Bullshit Detector, Interrogation.
I do have a 2 in medicine.
You
I'm
do
just
have
saying.
2 in medicine. Do you want to flex that a little bit?
Oh, I'm flexing.
Okay. Do you want to spend any points?
Yeah, why not?
Okay. How many points do you want to spend?
Oh, just the 1. I'm not that confident.
So you take the box, and for no points, same size and makeup as the boxes that you get every month, right? It's got the same blue gold emblem on it, same as yours does. The color scheme is slightly different, right? So a different color blue and a different color gold. The striping on it's slightly different. Logo is older. So as you think about your blue gold that you had, and this, what your logo looks like, and you look at this one, and this one looks a little bit more dated. It's an older logo for blue gold. Just overall, the box itself is pretty faded and worn. So using your medicine skill, you feel comfortable thinking this is the same type of packaging that you're getting, but it's older. And you're thinking 4 or 5 years older. And it's full of Q-tips.
Well, he's looking at that. Can I run to the guest book? Or
Yeah,
to
you
guest
sure
book?
can.
Arthur kind of places this pigeon in front of him and reads the the name off the nameplate, and he's flipping vigorously through the pages trying to find if there's any sort of Eric that is signed into.
So you flip through. Unfortunately for Austin, even though this place has been open for a decade, there's not many pages in this book. I'm sure he wishes there was more. You get to the first page, and this is dated about five and a half years ago. A couple names, and then the fourth name is Eric Teller, and in both cases it's spelled E-R-I-C.
As he sees that, he's looking up at Randall. I feel like Randall's probably putting together how old the box might be at this point. And when we convene at some point,
We can have that happen now. Let's have the four of you get together.
yeah, awesome.
Yeah.
Arthur's going to have the book in front of him and say, there's some Eric. He's holding this malformed pigeon in one hand and the book in the other. He says, this must be the same person. 4 or 5 years ago, they came and visited Austin.
Okay. I found some medical records of Austin's. She'll put down like both next to each other so they can compare. The contract with the 3/2, and also his medical records that he's going to be dementia autism within 10 years. So he was here longer than 2 years, it seems.
Lucy, would you be interested in spending a notice point?
Yes, I would.
You're able to recall your sheet.
Mhm.
And you now remember, after I filled out my consent form, I went to the Blue Gold Research Facility just outside of town. They reviewed it and they gave me my copy back. When they gave me my copy back, when I gave it to them, the upper right piece was not filled out. But now that you remember, if I were to go back home and look at that sheet, it says 3/6. So group 3/6 versus the 3/2, I think, for him.
3/2. Yeah, and she'll share that information with the team.
Is anybody else connecting these group numbers with the 1/3 that was written in blood?
Well, I'm only getting that I'm only understanding that the first number is what group. So I think the 1/3 is the first group, but I'm not sure what that third portion is.
Arthur cannot remember. He writes a lot of things down, but he wrote this down. He just doesn't remember.
Lisa, in your research, it has been your understanding that this was the second trials that you were in.
Okay.
So there was trials done about 2 years ago. They ran for about a year. And then they closed, and soon afterwards they started your trials. And your trials have been going for 2 years.
Question.
And we're the second group, huh? Of these trials, supposedly.
As far as you know, now the sheet says group 3.
Mm-hmm.
How many groups is it in our trial?
You only know of the one.
We're
You can speak, Victoria.
We've done been lied to. This is not the second trial, is it?
Pharmaceutical
This is the
companies
third.
would never lie.
You think so? Something
Yeah.
must have gone
Terribly wrong.
horrifically wrong with the first one if they're not admitting that it exists. So
You guys have Lucy, Lisa, and Randall. The three of you had low-grade headaches this morning. Less really than anything you'd felt the day before, so it kind of felt better. I think you probably took some aspirin, but it didn't really help that much. You talk about the pigeon. You talk about Eric on the pigeon, in magic marker to Austin from Eric. The book has Eric's name in it. You start talking about the groups. Lucy mentions, I think the 3 represents the group number. And as the 4 of you are kind of just gathering information, talking through that, when Lisa says, I think we've been lied to, I don't think we were the second group, your headaches abate. We're going to cut to the credits. When we get back from the credits, we're going to talk to the cast. We'll be right back. Welcome back. We're going to have a conversation with the cast, obviously here, but by all means, feel free to say, Mike, where is Freddie? Mike, you're a little late to the game, man. You're going to have to watch the recording. I'm going to talk to the cast a little bit. If you have questions for the cast, feel free to drop it in the chat, and I'll try to pick them up, and we can ask the cast. I'm not quite sure where to start. So this is my first time running this game. This is the first time the 4 of you have played this game. I know, Vic, that you've played a decent amount of horror RPG in your time, yeah, or no?
No, actually, I was part of a very short-lived Call of Cthulhu campaign that kind of just fell apart after, I think, maybe 4 or 5 sessions, but that's the extent of my horror RPG playing. I've been formulating one, but that's entirely different from.
So, anything that worked for you?
I mean, at a certain point, I was legitimately like sitting here shivering, not just because I'm cold. I mean, it is cold, but a lot of things were really fun. Just the sheer dread of knowing that we were going to find a body in the house. Just didn't know where it was. That was a thing.
So for everybody watching, nobody was surprised that everybody knew before we got playing. They're like, "Oh yeah, Austin's dead. He's dead."
Yeah.
So you guys all predicted that well. How did it feel? Let's say compared to the Call of Cthulhu. Did it have a different feel?
It really did. To be fair, our Call of Cthulhu game, I don't think most of us were really taking it terribly seriously. So like this one, I'm actually feeling like emotions and stuff.
Yeah.
Like in that part with Maggie, I was like legitimately about to cry because it's just like she clearly has dementia, and it's hard, you know. And like in the Call of Cthulhu game, we didn't do a whole lot of like human stories. We kind of started on a cult storyline, but it didn't really work out, and like the low rolls that we ended up getting weren't exactly threatening. Because I think like, most of them were just like, oh, you fail at this task, but it's not super important to the storyline. And I'm not sure if that was just the luck of the draw or if it was our particular players, or if maybe it's just not a system for me.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Call of Cthulhu. And you know, when I came back to role playing, I definitely wanted to play horror. This is my favorite genre to run. It's also my favorite genre to play. But it's tough to find the right game. It's tough to find the right GM, and it's tough to find the right players. But oh boy, when you get all of that together, it's just the best. It's the absolute best. And I think I was headed towards Call of Cthulhu until I interviewed Robin D. Laws and kind of got my eyes on this. And there's two things. The gumshoe system I think is very interesting. One thing that can be frustrating in Call of Cthulhu is, you know, I want to roll for spot hidden. Well, you failed. Well, shit, now what? Do I find the pigeon? Like, you know, fuck, you know. And I kind of like that. Just built into the system is just like, just give people the clues. Give people the stuff that they find. The stuff that you guys have found in this house, this wasn't when or how you were going to find them in my mind. But it's kind of neat because I have a bucket of clues. Some are more important than others, right? And I've got them sitting there, and I'm waiting for you to find them. So some of the stuff that you know, were given to you by the cop was stuff that I expected you to spend more time at the crime scene before the cops were called or came there. You guys surprised me, but you know, well, shit, let's have the cop do it in the interrogation room. So and that's kind of built into this system. The way this system is just like, look, these are the clues, right? And you know, let the players find them. Let the players figure it out. And if they don't find them where you thought they were going to find them, they're still in the bucket, right? And you know, let them succeed. And reward them for their efforts. I think it's very interesting. So Boomstick says horror, I think, is one of the hardest genres to role play. So it is effective for everyone involved. Really depends on the group, more so than any other games. I think I couldn't agree more. Boomstick. Cody, how about for you? Have you played horror RPGs before?
Not necessarily horror RPGs, but it's my favorite genre of movies, games, anything. So it's been a blast, and it's like Vic said, it's kind of more of a human side of horror. I'm going to enjoy trying to, if Arthur can last long enough, kind of pulling his side into this a little bit more outwards. He's not just a clueless old man. There are underlying circumstances. But I do want to say I love the system, and I'm getting major the color from out of space vibes, where we're starting kind of very mundane, not mundane, but we're starting not slow, but it hasn't picked up, and now I feel like shit's just gonna hit the fan, and I'm looking forward to that moment. Whether I die, whether I live, I can't wait. So.
Yeah, in the GM section of the book, he spends both of them spent time talking about that you can't have the horror piece without the mundane.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I've always loved, and the fact that it was called out in the book that I really enjoyed, is, you know, the personal people part that that Vic just talked about, for me that's crucial in this type of horror. That you have to give a shit. You have to give a shit about each other. It was critical that you gave a shit about Austin, obviously, and we just built that into the backstories. But you know, I'm glad, Vic, that Maggie registered with you, because you know, I think that adds to the mundane. It adds to the dread. It's pieces of puzzles, and you know, that makes me happy. I'd be curious for you, Cody, though, if you were in charge of creating a 2-minute clip as kind of a teaser clip for our first session, what were the 2 minutes you think that had the biggest impact on you?
Oh man, I mean the body reveal is huge, obviously, but I also think that montage of just everyone going around and, you know, researching their own individual areas of the house after you know, the crimes. It's a crime scene, but we care so much about Austin that we want to get to the bottom of this, and so I think that's an awesome montage of just everyone kind of each character shining.
Now, Shadika, when you first reached out saying you wanted to play in this one, and you've been a patron for a while, so I'd be curious, what was it that said you wanted to play in this game versus previous games that I've offered to the patrons?
Horror. Yeah, I am a horror head. I love everything horror. Probably the only horror thing I don't do is video games, because this is gonna sound weird because I'm role playing. I don't like being immersed in video games and horror.
Sure.
But everything else, I'm all for it. So when I went in, saw the message, I was like, oh, this sounds cool. Why not?
How about your 2-minute clip? What is of the whole, you know, 3 hours, 2.5 hours we played? What was the 2 minutes or 3 minutes that had the biggest impact on you?
I went first, and I like the small mundane things where you can kind of pick up something's unsettling and off. So I would have to say, if I did a 2-minute clip, the first intro would be that vision Lucy had was overhead and inside the eyes, breaking apart the door, busting open the door. And then when we're all sitting, entering into the scene for the very first time and setting up and like, hey, Arthur's missing. What's going on? Like,
Arthur's here. It's Austin.
God darn it.
You're just predicting my
I'm
death. You're just
sorry.
predicting my death. That's fine.
The A's and the L's is going to.
It's so
I
funny.
almost called Lisa Lucy a few times. And I was like, okay, no, think this out. Austin's missing. He's never missing. The call with the older woman and the black sedan just showing up. This just really bothers me on a personal level. He's always there. No one else sees it.
So, Nick, where are you as a player right now? In what has happened for you as a player over the last 2.5 hours?
Experiencing this genre is totally different than imagining sword and sorcery, and you're really pretending to be something you could never be, I guess, in those worlds. But you're just a little bit different than yourself, and my emotions were closer to this. And there's a few moments I recognized myself breaking character, being funny, because I was like emotionally like stuck going, oh, when I'm uncomfortable, I'm going to make something laugh and make something comical. And I found myself doing that, and I'm holding back because I want to stay immersed and I'm really enjoying this. But when I put two and two together, it was like, holy crap, this is awesome.
All right. So before we wrap up, any dots being connected? I want to hear any theories. So who's got thoughts and theories?
I've got a theory. Oh, go ahead, guys.
I want to hear Shadika first.
Okay, and this might be completely wrong. I am pretty sure that the people in the van is with the group that we're doing the research with, and they're just watching us to see what happens. And they're also the ones that killed Austin. He was a part. Yeah, that's just my theory here.
How about you, Nick? Theories?
There's one dot that connected that I want to research next time we get together. It's this Miss Kingsley. she gave us a hint that she has Alzheimer's already because she completely forgot that Austin had died. Just, I mean, it might have been like an hour and a half of her rambling to me. I don't know the exact timing, but that completely spaced her mind. And we just found out that our friend has some issues with that and was diagnosed with early onset. And so I'm wondering if there's some connection on the back that's going to tie in, and I want to dig into that. So that has me pumped and excited for next session.
Mm-hmm. How about for you, Vic?
Kind of the same thing, but like most of my big dot connecting was already revealed with the group numbers, and like this in fact not being the second but the third group, and something going wrong in the first study, and I'm not sure if it's something connected to the people from the first study having early onset Alzheimer or dementia, or maybe the first study caused it. But that's pretty much all I have.
Yeah. Do you have a sense of where you as a player or as a character, kind of what's next for you? Is there a path you want to go down, or a something that you're going to want to do when we start playing up again?
I'm going to want to look into the past research studies. not even necessarily for this particular drug, just in Blue Gold, basically.
Yeah. Yep. How about you, Cody? Got it all figured out?
Yeah, everything's all the dots. I have that big strings attached, No, I think that it's definitely interesting. I can see parallels between like my character in Austin. I'm wondering like if there's any sort of history and any, just really looking to delve into that and what this kind of first drug trial group may have been, because if it's in his own blood that he wrote in, it was clearly or likely self-inflicted, or someone wanted us to know. So I think that just the fact that it was done in his blood is a big, it's a clue, but it's a big red flag.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I'm super excited. Thanks to the four of you. We've been planning this for 2 months now, and I finally got to happen. I appreciate you being patient with me being new to the system, and enjoying it. Like, I had fun. I had fun, and there's all kinds of different ways that you can play horror, and this is my favorite way, which is let's joke and laugh a little bit. Let's not take it a little too seriously, but I feel like the level of immersion was fantastic. So real quick plugs. First of all, I want to thank Jim Ortiz, a good buddy of mine. He's been in the chat as Third Floor Wars and helping out monitoring the chat. So Jim, I really appreciate you doing that. That makes my life a lot easier, not having to keep my eyes on that. Two, for those of you that have not subbed the flagship media we do, that's the Tabletop Talk podcast. So if you do not subscribe to that, check that out for me. Episode 129, I interview Robin D. Laws, one of the two people that created this game. He's the person that created the Gumshoe system, which is what this game is based off of. Highly recommended. Robin was a phenomenal guest. We get into really what the origins of the Gumshoe system is, and he's got so many, like, you can look forward to us playing his Feng Shui game as well. It's a really neat system. So check that out. It's Tabletop Talk podcast. It's on all the podcatchers. All four of these people that played with us tonight are patrons. One of the benefits of being a patron of Third Floor Wars is you get an opportunity to play games with me. So for those of you that would like to do this in the future, or think $1 a month is worth supporting it, just go to patreon.com. And you can find me under Third Floor Wars. Plugs for upcoming streams. Friday, August 6th, 9 p.m. I'm doing a huge reveal for Weird Games. Weird Games has given Third Floor Wars and myself some sneak peeks at some big stuff that's coming out. We're going to be revealing it pre-Gen Con. And it's exciting. You can look forward to Nick being on that to help discuss that once we do the reveal. So that is going to be August 6th, a Friday at 9 p.m. Wednesday, August 11th at 6 p.m. is the next episode of the Fistful of Credits Star Wars live play. So for those of you that are enjoying the Fistful of Credits, that's episode 3, August 11th at 6 p.m. Thursday, August 19th at 8 p.m. Our very popular Forbidden Lands game. It's going to be episode 6 of Forbidden Lands. It's Nick's favorite system to play in. And
It's too soon, Craig. It's too soon.
and we have a great cast for that too. So that is going to be August 19th. And then Saturday, August 21st, 9 p.m. Fear Itself, episode 2. Let's find out what the hell is going on here. Before we do a raid, I want some plugs and shout outs. I know Victoria has some plugs. So Victoria?
Yes. If you enjoy Malifaux, I'm the other half of the
Better half.
host of
Better half.
that's debatable, of Steam Powered Scoundrels. And we, in fact, also have a pre-Gen Con reveal that is dropping tomorrow. I think Nick is on that one too.
I am, yeah.
Nice, Nick. You whore.
You said it, not me. I was going to say it, but I refrained. We're in a horror show. Anyway, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah. I think that's the big one for us. If you like us, we also have a Patreon, Steam Powered Scoundrels. We're working on getting videos of model assembly started up. So if you'd like to help us out with getting that going, anything helps. And I think that's really it.
So Steam Power Scoundrels is one of my favorite podcasts. It's one of the first podcasts I always listen to when it comes out. I've already told your husband this to his face, so I don't feel bad saying it right now. Every episode that Victoria's on makes it one of the better episodes. So Vic, you do a great job on that show, but Doug, even when you're not there, does a pretty good job as well. And I am super excited for tomorrow's episode, because
Yes.
I don't know what you got. I know what I got from Weird. I don't know what you got from Weird, so I'm super excited to check that out. Nick, any shout outs or plugs?
Yeah, I mean, first off, support your content creators, guys. They do such an amazing job. The production value across the board, everybody's doing great. Also here in Houston, if you want to try out your skills against some of the Lone Star guys, we've got Warzone Houston coming up. We're gonna have a GT, a 2-day event, 5-rounder. It's September 24th, and so 24th, 25th. So that weekend, it's going to be a great time, and seats are filling up fast, and it's going to be a good event. So come down and hang out with us and play some foe.
Awesome. Shadika, any shout outs or plugs?
No plugs for me. I'm just a player, consumer. I just enjoy this stuff. But thank you for letting me play. That's really it.
You're doing me the favor. I appreciate it. I've been so excited. I've nothing against Cody, nothing against Nick. I've played with them before, but I felt like I had. It was a huge win for me to get both you and Vic on the show. So it makes me happy. Cody, shout outs, plugs.
No shout outs. Shout outs to Connecticut Malifaux scene, 30-person league. So shout out to them. We're coming for you, North Carolina. Other than that, nothing.
All right, great.
Thank you, Craig, for running.
Oh, my pleasure. So for those of you that are watching this on YouTube, let's go ahead and hit the subscribe button on there. If you're watching on Twitch, I wouldn't mind a follow. And even if you subbed, it'd make me even happier. Let's go ahead and do a raid. So we're going to raid a channel that I love. It's Dave Greco Art. This guy's an amazing digital artist. Looks like he's playing Minecraft right now, but this is a channel you should follow if you're a Twitcher. So we're going to head everybody over there, and we'll hopefully see everybody soon. Take care. Thanks a lot, guys.
Good night, y'all.
Good night, y'all.
All right, here goes the raid.
Oh, so